Very interesting hearing Pyosik use his own name in reference to OnFleek there as well. Of course, Pyosik does mean sort of like a kindred mark. It's like it's basically what that is because he was a kindred one-trick in the jungle. That's the main thing that I took away, this very small little tidbit. Otherwise, Gorilla being the house mom is no surprise. He's always been a bit of a caretaker for his teams, and it looks to have been working so far for SANDBOX. But as we introduce the players onto the stage, I think it's going to be really interesting to see whether OnFleek can get the good start that he got in both of their previous matches. This was always our criticism of SANDBOX. It's whether or not they can play from behind. They haven't had to just yet. We'll see whether DragonX is going to force them into that position here today. You did see it is going to be Doran towards the top side of the map. Chovy is back from his little stint up there, went on a bit of a top lane holiday, and is now back to his home in the mid lane. And let's see what the real DragonX can bring us here in their second match in week 1.
SANDBOX, we'll see what Summit is going to be able to do. Like I said, eyes on him for this match. As Chovy in the mid lane, that is a very, very big discrepancy. And we're also going to get to see what Leo and Gorilla are going to be able to do against Deft and Keria.
Yeah, Deft and Keria had that first match where Deft played his weird jigs game on the bottom side. Didn't work, and then he picked up Aphelios and didn't die 2 games in a row, playing the Aphelios Alistar bottom lane. A rough lane to actually get ahead on early because Alistar and Aphelios probably some of the worst level 1 champions in the game. But still, they were able to navigate that lane extraordinarily well. And Doran back hot off his suspension. Look forward to seeing what he's been cooking for us. I had a look at his solo queue. Hasn't been good news for our friend LS.
I've heard about the AA Trox.
There's been a little bit of good old Troxy boy in his history, but hopefully he's got that out of his system by going 9-2 on it in solo queue. And could be an opportunity here. But the matchup in the jungle, I think, is going to be very important. If OnFleek gets into the mind of Pyosik, that's where we could have some real troubles. You saw CVMAX, I believe, standing behind Pyosik there, trying to give him all of his energy as we head into this one, because if we have momentum on the young player's side, could certainly help get a victory here for DRX. But let's see how the draft goes. See whether we're going to be sinners or saints on either side of the rift as we get into the ban phase.
Take a look at what SANDBOX wants to ban away first.
Will we get more Soraka top? So far it's only been Chovy from Humble Life that's busted it out. It was an interesting team composition, but worked out very, very well. I want more Brad as well. Give us more of these caster supports. So far, Bard is 100% win rate here in the LCK. And we were really happy by some of the drafting done yesterday. Gen G is certainly surprising us with their intelligent maneuvers on and off the Rift. I felt like the draft was good, and then the item builds were good. Everything just seemed to be good for Gen G yesterday. Maybe one of these teams has taken some notes.
SANDBOX banning away the Ornn, and you mentioned Soraka, and given the fact that she's a neutralizer in top lane, that used to be the way that some players used to have to approach the matchups against Summit and Keen, in particular, by playing Karma, by playing Tahm Kench, stuff like that up in top lane. And given that Soraka fulfills the same exact role, it's not too surprising, or wouldn't be too surprising to see her come out. But DragonX actually going to ban Set.
Yeah, I was thinking Set or Rek'Sai to be the bans. Coming in last there is Aphelios. I feel like this is almost a pick away, honestly, from Deft, because he played so incredibly well on the champion. And so Alodios is going to be picked up, as you like to call him, to do a lot of stuff for SANDBOX in theory. Now, a couple of picks available for DragonX. Still some priority is up here is Elise, something that DragonX can pick up for themselves if they would like to grab her. So far, 14 out of 20 games. She has been banned. But we're going to lock away some support action first.
I think she's lost every other game, by the way.
Elise?
Yeah, I believe she's 100% loss rate in the LCK.
Ooh, I can double check that one for you.
Check that one real quick.
Let me hop in. Yep, 0 and 5.
Yeah, oh, there we go.
Not doing so well.
As Rek'Sai and Nautilus both picked up. Now, this gives SANDBOX the opportunity to realize that both of those champions have one mode which is to go into the opponents. They're both short range. And given Doran's champion pool that he's shown in the past, you could probably assume, like we mentioned just before this, that Aatrox would potentially come up. Now, and Olaf is locked in. Not the biggest fan of it. Zoe picked up with an Aurelia being banned away. Maybe we just see Chovy respond with Syndra.
Yeah, could be an option here for DragonX. Unless they're planning on some weird shenanigans with a Nautilus in the mid lane or something like that, and then playing some Cloak and Daggers with their draft. 6 seconds to go though here, as it's going to be Misfortune and Nautilus on the bottom side. So just shoring everything up here for DragonX, leaving their solo laners theoretically till the last couple of picks. Zoe currently with a 4-1 win rate and is the most played mid laner so far in the LCK. We've had a lot of different mids though. So Dove, also one of our more accomplished Zoes. Think of Zoe players in the LCK, you think B2D, and you think Dove as well. So see what Chovy can make of a very much a comfort pick here for the mid laner on SANDBOX.
I would say Chovy is the OG Zoe.
Yeah, I think
going all the way back. He was the first one that really started playing her, and he was a monster on her. So Dove taking it. We'll see how Chovy can respond to it. So far, LeBlanc banned away, which I think speaks volumes to maybe how comfortable Dove is on the champion. Normally, you would want to invite the LeBlanc in if you're proficient enough on Zoe.
Yeah, it can be an awkward matchup, but a theoretical win.
Yeah.
We've seen it be won by extraordinarily good LeBlanc players. They can get around the matchup, but you're right. The bubble can be difficult when Distortion moves you in a line. There's going to be the Rumble Band Blast. Okay, that would be an interesting one.
This is a old Zoe counterpick. I mentioned Malzahar, I believe, earlier on inside of the week as a champion that seems to be forgotten. Because when everyone sucks, Malzahar having sucked for a while.
Yeah, Malzahar, Victor, and Orianna are the meta checkers.
Yep.
For the mid lane.
Azir as well.
Yep,
Azir comes in there. But Victor will be coming in here. Now, he's very good against the Olaf as well because of the movement speed that he ends up getting. It's pretty hard for Olaf to actually reliably stick on him. And Aatrox now being picked up for Summit. He's one of the premier Aatrox players.
And currently sitting on a 23 KDA across his first couple of games. It certainly was all about the top lane, as now we've got one of these favorite bottom lanes across the world in the Braum. Alongside
CV Max just move the mouse over. What?
Oh, here we go. This is where that dark technology is coming in. This is a top lane Victor, mid lane Nautilus, and Yuumi Misfortune for the bottom side. 5 seconds to go, and it's going to be Kennen. So never mind. We're going to move all the way back from that. Cancel it out. But we do have a teamfight comp here for DragonX.
I hate everything, Atlas. Okay.
It was getting exciting until it definitely wasn't. Oh dear.
Soraka would have done so much for DragonX's team composition here, able to do so many things to Zoe especially with the silence, and ruins Aatrox and Olaf inside of teamfights as well.
Yeah, they could have just picked a mage support and then sent that Nautilus into a solo lane, but maybe not wanting to sacrifice laning power.
You could have the Soraka go top, she annihilates Aatrox.
Oh, that's true as well,
in the 1v1. Completely neutralizes him, which is the thing that I was mentioning, but instead we have this bizarre desire to pick Kennen and have him end up going into the top lane. So, you know, we had really good drafts to end the night last night. We're probably going to get good drafts in the second series here, but
yeah, that's true. We like to warm up here in the LCK. we start slow, but then we peak late.
Yes.
You know, that's how it works. As Doran's debut here in the LCK will be on the Kennen. Excited to see what he can do, as Pyosik has taken away the Rek'Sai from OnFleek. OnFleek going to be showing us his Olaf for the first time here in spring 2020. And Chovy's back on an old favorite as well. I mean, I remember there was times where Chovy did show us some pretty amazing stuff on the Victor when he was well and truly in the meta. Was one of the pioneers when Victor came back into the meta as well. Let's see whether he can do it in this game against Dove's Zoe. As we start off
Atlas,
in sepia
you know
mode.
This is your fault.
Is it?
Yeah, it's your fault.
Why is that?
Yesterday, Valdez here, no pause to start the game. You come, first thing, 9 seconds in, pause. What's going on here?
You know, I just want to spend more time with you.
Okay, well,
Is that
you
wrong?
had to do is say so.
There you go. It's also it's a Sunkei day today as well on the Korean caster desk. So theoretically, it should mean that we should be breezing through everything.
Oh, is that how that works?
Yeah. He's the super speed mode man.
Okay, he's the speed runner.
Yep. Certainly did not happen this time around though. As still checking in to see what has actually gone wrong, and we'll double check. Yeah, it looks like Leo's side might be some audio issues based on the adjustment of the microphone, but we'll see. Just make sure that everything is okay. You can't Elodios if you've got some issues going on, you know, because there's a lot to keep in your brain with how many different guns you've got and all that sort of stuff.
Gladios is a really great champion.
Maybe he's complaining because his E button doesn't work.
Ooh, that'd be really bad.
That would be a bit silly, wouldn't it?
That would be really, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't need that one.
Yeah, well.
See, Deft, he's not amused.
Deft is always...
And look at Keria, he's so cute. Just like, guys, I want to play the game. And Deft is like, I'm about to fall asleep. Please, someone unpause this.
Well.
Looks like we're almost ready to get back in. But we'll have to double check to see exactly what has happened.
Doran.
Bit of a smile on Doran's face. This is good.
Yeah.
In high spirits. So he's a man that does take losses very hard. Hopefully the tutelage of CV Max over the break has helped level him up as far as the emotional turmoil is concerned. I think we all remember back to, you know, Doran coming back from a lost game with certainly very red eyes. So
yes.
Seeing whether he can hold himself together. Does have a split or two under his belt. Well, a split. Just one. During summer for Griffin, but hopefully here his debut for DragonX is going to be what we want, because I want to let a cat out of the bag.
Yeah, what
LS?
do you want to let me hear it.
I think that this DragonX squad probably better with quad in it.
Not talking to you anymore.
No?
No, I'm kidding.
I just think the quad was really good.
On
Albeit
the
the Cassiopeia.
On the Cassiopeia, he was fine. He did have that one blunder that was very peculiar, where just whenever cameras pan to certain lanes and I see laners in extremely awkward spots, I just try to wonder, how did you arrive there?
Yeah. What choices have you made that have led you to this point?
Possibly led you to believe that was a good pocket to stand in. And
I don't know.
you know, I mean, but we'll have to see how Doran ends up doing. It's been a while since we saw him play, over a month.
Yeah.
So we'll see what things he has going on here. Comet, gonna be the rune of choice for Chovy on this Victor here.
Interesting. We've seen a lot of phase rush, things like that for the Victor, but
Also,
deciding to go with a little bit more damage in the laning phase.
Electrocute on the Aatrox so that he can combo better for kills onto the Kennen.
Yeah, I like it.
Not running the Conqueror.
That's an aggro man's choice.
That is an aggro, yeah, that really is.
I like it. Fits in with SANDBOX's Sinner lifestyle that they certainly have going for themselves.
Yes.
They do like it. As more Pacific Rim options here as far as the Aatrox skin
Is that the
choices.
Pentakill Olaf?
Yeah, I think so.
That is? Okay.
I actually really like it. Or is it Project Olaf?
No? That looks
What is
human.
it?
I think that looks human. Let's take a look
That
at
can't be
some
the-
of
What?
the runes right here. Aatrox running CDR per level, as well as adaptive with magic resistance. Everything honestly pretty standard so far. Hopefully we get to see more runes from other players, as SANDBOX is looking to invade. Doesn't look like Kennen is that interested in trying to poke or do anything, as he's waiting in the brush for Summit to come back. And obviously you have to anticipate that this is something that will end up happening. So Summit's going to start the lane missing a little bit of HP, not the end of the world.
Whoa, somehow that Q landed. That was very strange.
Doran missed a CS though, so I hope that we pan away. I'm not in...
Yeah, don't want to be looking at that one.
Yeah.
Pyosik now has the opportunity to go towards some vertical jungling if he would like to. Right now on his wolf camp. But could just be OnFleek running... Oh no, he is going to go straight to his blue. So he's going vertically. See whether the Rek'Sai is able to actually scoot into the enemy jungle. It's going to mean that Deft and Keria will need to take some control of this lane.
Oh yeah, that's very nice
level
RNG.
2. That's what the best Zoes do. They pick up a redemption at level 2. That's
now, Dove can just cheat a recall right now. He can shove in this wave, recall instantly, go back and get a Dark Seal, and then come back and Victor 40% mana, missing HP, and then the lane would be coming into you. Because Olaf doesn't need you for anything right now. Olaf's just going to continue to clear his jungle. Aatrox doesn't need you for anything. Instead, no recall, Dove burning through his corrupting potions to stay in lane for no reason. Had he recalled, gotten the Dark Seal, gotten a control ward as well, he can come back to lane, have it on his side, lock Victor into the lane, or steal away Chovy's teleport.
Oh, flashes in from Doran. Not exactly what you want to be doing here, as Pyosik doesn't want to go underneath that turret. Flash down from Summit though, flash for flash on the top side. If Pyosik makes his way back in, there is a chance for that kill. Possibly wrapping around, but it looks like it is just going to be Rift Scuttle going over to this Rek'Sai. Good to see Pyosik being aggressive here in the early game. Not quite able to get that kill as bottom side of the map. Bit of biffo as OnFleek makes his way down. Lane not in a great spot for a gank.
As it stands right now though, OnFleek is up 3 camps as he's about to consume the Golem camp. And so Rek'Sai will be the first one to get the recall off. Both Gromp and Wraiths coming up.
Yep, should be able to eat those up pretty comfortably, but was a 3-buff start here for OnFleek. Exactly what you want as the Olaf player. You're not controlling your camps, then you're not winning, really.
The really unfortunate thing right now is that the lane is pushing away from DragonX, and so Pyosik coming down for I don't know what reason, only to clear out a ward. There's no gank opportunity there, and so he's actually slowed down his own jungle clear to do that path, down to clear out the ward, and so now Olaf is going to be starting his clears around the same exact time. You can even see the pings go out on the map. Everyone knows where Pyosik is. There was no reason to show himself there whatsoever. And so now everyone on SANDBOX, they're playing with map hacks. They know that the 2 pings went down onto Gromp and Wolves. They know when he's going to path into his Wraith camp. This Rek'Sai is not going to achieve anything. And now with Olaf pathing down on his clamp here, once Rek'Sai ends up at Golems, Olaf would have the ability to do Raptor camp into solo Dragon. But instead, OnFleek actually wants to come invade.
Yeah, looking for that turret. Gravity Field is good here. Dove gets Death Raid. He's got himself a Proto Bell. Now OnFleek is hunting for this Rek'Sai. Pyosik knows that he's in the area, especially now that he's lost that tunnel. And OnFleek now looking for it. Tunnel out. Pyosik wants to hold on to this camp, but OnFleek's just going to bully him out of the way. Ward here in this brush. Doran should be able to stop that recall. Does so. Now Summit's going to have to waste a little bit more time. Teleports up for both of these top laners.
OnFleek actually let some of the golems live. I think he mistakenly assumed that mini Krug, the medium Krug, was the other one that prevents the respawn.
Ah, yeah, maybe.
And so I think that's the only reason that he ended up letting it live. Otherwise, an Undertow would have cleared it out, gave out on some free XP and some small amounts of gold. Now Pyosik is going to be the first one to get to the right-hand side Scuttle Crab. Gorilla not going to be able to reset to there in time.
Actually feels a little bit like we've had a tempo reset, allowing Pyosik to successfully get around this jungle a little better. Buffs soon to be respawning now as Doran thinking about heading back to base. Is going to do so. Decent advantage here for the cannon, but of course that's why you pick it in this matchup. Trying to abuse that range advantage, heading towards his Hextech Gunblade as item number 1, but not quite at the Bilgewater Cutlass. One thing that DragonX have been good at is covering the map with wards where they need them. You can see they move their vision towards the bottom side of the map, now thinking about playing around where that dragon is. So here at 7 minutes in, see whether that dragon is going to be a focus, because teleport's still available for the cannon. Slicing Maelstrom is up too. Can be a powerful tool if we are going to get into any of these skirmishes. OnFleek towards the bottom side, going to cause some issues, but Vision just going to be cleared. DragonX with full information of what's going on.
Pyosik coming over now to leash the blue for Victor, who has upgraded his Hex core. As Zoe picked up a heal, so double heal actually on Zoe. Yeah. Quite impressive.
Going to be pretty healthy here on Dove's side. Web button once again, Naked Rain coming down, Gorilla in a bit of trouble, and there's the bullet time. Keria, he's getting it turned around on though, has to flash to get out of the way of this duo. Deft without any mana, OnFleek moving down. Just a little bit overly aggressive. It's heal traded for the flash of Keria.
The thing about this is OnFleek is in close proximity, and so now SANDBOX, they could just freeze bot wave. And that's what they're doing. You see the ping on the minions. Deft cancels his recall. He's like, no, this cannot happen. And now he's going to move forward. It might cost him one of his summoners, or he's going to waste even more time. It's amazing how this example of a freeze is commonly understood inside of laning phase, but apparently 10 minutes from now,
no, that doesn't exist.
All the logic that surrounds it just goes right out the window.
That's not what you want. Well, Shelly is going to get taken here comfortably by Pyosik. It was top side that they were actually considering as Chaos Storm. It's come into the mid lane, Chovy. I like it. This was the classic Doinby style, where you just throw down your ultimate as often as you possibly can for lane pressure. First Hex core upgrade has come in so far for Chovy. And we'll be looking at that next one as soon as possible. Looks like he is going to be going for the Luden's Echo build path. Lost Chapter to be coming in next, from what I can glean. And we'll be just upgrading the Hex score as often as you possibly can.
And all of this is looking really good right now, as we're having an extremely stable early game, first 10 minutes. And when this is happening, you really kind of don't feel that good if you are SANDBOX. And mostly because the champions on the side of DragonX, I would say, do outscale that of the ones on SANDBOX. And a lot of that, in part, has to do with, well, you have an Olaf.
Yep.
And he's not going to do that much this time around. Doesn't have a Yuumi attached to him. And a Soraka juicing him up constantly. As Summit.
Doran's going to break the chains. But good combo there from Summit, demonstrating the power of that electrocute quite well. See whether Doran can just stand back and auto some minions to utilize this Vampiric Scepter to help him out. I like the little balloons from this Zoe skin, by the way. I'm a big fan.
You like that?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. A little bit of a carno. Oh, baby, here we go.
Yeah, we got to dive. That's the flash. Sorry, no, it's
what?
Not. That's just a hook. Now we're going to throw in Shelly as well. Good knock-up, and in goes Doran. The bullet time is going to rain down, and Pyosik is also going to pick up one of these kills, but in comes Summit now. Doran has flashed already. Needs to try and get the hell out of here, and the turret is going to find him. It's now Dove standing on top of the Chaos Storm. So far, still a win here for DragonX as they got all of those plates, as well as an extra kill. That could have been better here for DragonX with a better disengage.
It still ends up being advantageous for them. One of the things that you do have to consider, though, is the top minion wave, I believe, was taken by Summit prior to the teleport, so that has to be factored in as well.
Yeah, they'll lose all of that.
Yep. So we'll take a look at that one more time. I don't think Doran had to die there in the replay.
Okay, Bubble gonna land here onto Chovy. A bit of damage. Death Ray does come back, and Chovy survives for the moment on about 300 health. Looking like he will just go back to base now.
He doesn't have teleport available, so this is a really unfortunate recall timing. Keria misses the hook, and this is what was so surprising is SANDBOX knew about this. You can see Summit on the minimap teleporting in the middle of the lane, and then watch this follow-up here. Doran did already flash and then wait for it.
Yeah,
the turret.
It was the lightning rush.
Yeah, it was the lightning rush that aggroes. So actually, he can't. I don't think he can live there.
Yeah, I think it was actually really smart of Summit to make sure that he just kept his body on top of the little rat. These two had no options there.
Call him Cannon a rat.
Yeah, it's just a little ratty boy.
All right, no big deal.
Yeah,
that's fine. You know what
There's
kind of...
nothing wrong with a rat, by the way.
Okay.
Rat's a nice animal.
Nice.
Have you seen pet rats? They're adorable.
I've actually never personally seen a pet rat. I've seen mice.
Yeah, mice that's more common.
Yeah.
But pet rats are like even cuter.
Okay.
Yeah, big fan.
They do say beauty is subjective. So.
The eyes of the beholder, my friend.
Yes.
All right, Doran. Got a couple of friends up here. It's a decent knock-up from the first part of the queue.
I'm going to call these friends.
Yeah, well, we're going to go give him a big hug
Oh, no.
and make his screen a bit grayscale.
I've seen this movie before.
Yeah, it's not one you want. But it's not looking like a dive is on the cards here. Doran's still pretty healthy. And a cute little knock-up that Summit probably didn't want to take a turret shot there. Pyosik now going to take away a Raptor camp. And you can see, completely evened out the camps on this Rek'Sai. Both Rek'Sai and the Olaf pretty good at killing jungle camps, but so far, Pyosik is about one ahead. Now considering this Mountain Drake.
And the Mountain Dragon's actually really big, again, because not a lot of champions on the side of SANDBOX end up building that much pen. I think it's a little late for OnFleek to start into the Black Cleaver. Obviously, Summit going to be building Black Cleaver. Had a nice little tweet segment talking about Trinity Force versus Black Cleaver.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
And you're a fan of Trinity Force Aatrox as well? Is
I'm
that something you were talking about last
I
night?
am a fan of Trinity Force Aatrox. Talking about that on broadcast with Valdez.
Not a very common one.
Not common at all.
No.
And that's fine.
Deft getting angry at this dragon. He really wants to kill it. There are a few members of SANDBOX in the area. Pyosik going to come back down, and thanks for the leash from Deft. OnFleek possibly looking for a fight here as the gravity field does come in. OnFleek can, of course, Ragnarok, but the dragon is going to be taken, make it rain just to get them out of the way. Into Narnia goes the ultimate from Gorilla, but still opportunities now. Moonlight Vigil coming down, good exhaust onto Chovy. That Chaos Storm not doing nearly as much damage, but now Gorilla's going to be taken. Keria goes golden. SANDBOX can't find anything off the back end of that team fight. Oh, unless Dove can get in, but no, he can't. DragonX make it out. I believe that was a stopped... No, it wasn't. It's just Doran and Summit fighting one another.
1,500 gold lead right now for DragonX here. As Summit is being basically grappled with in top lane. He's not able to do the things that one would expect him to. And this is what Doran was actually really good at last summer. And it's why a lot of people, especially CV Max, basically touted him as being better than Sword. So he was able to actually contend with the Elite Four, go up against them, and go even in a lot of cases.
And also his playstyle is definitely more about winning the lane and playing aggressively, whereas Sword was about facilitating and getting to those cerebral team fights that Griffin were known for. That isn't Doran's playstyle. Doran is more like a Summit player who does want to go aggressive in that lane and try and win out in split pushes and in side lanes and really play those carries. Still yet to see too much here, but that first gank on bottom side did certainly work.
Victor's walk animation, there's something about it. I don't like it.
You don't?
No.
You don't like the old man walk? It's a bit like a Swain walk.
Yeah, it really, I don't know, it just bothers me.
Right. Well, we'll try and keep him off screen as much as possible.
All right, thank you, Atlas. Honestly.
I'll try.
All right.
Hasn't even picked a skin here on Chovy's side.
I like the Bumblebee Victor.
Yeah?
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
like
I know
the
that
Pharaoh look, the yellowy.
That one's a bit of a savant skin.
It
I'm a fan
definitely
of
is.
that one.
You are? Okay, you struck me as a bit of a savant.
Yeah, because that was one of the OG skins. I think it was the cheaper one that came out originally.
Yes.
And that's the one that I used too. Not Creative Victor. Everyone uses Creative Victor.
Yeah, that one just, it looks like a really not well-fed dark side or something. As we're taking a look at this replay, Chovy manages to get behind Keria. Pyosik with the knock-up. Keria ends up going golden, and then Dev, and no one else can really follow up and find the damage. Not worth losing their life over.
It's pretty nice seeing Chovy back in the mid lane, I'll tell you that much. I think he played that last skirmish about as well as you possibly can to avoid death. Sidestepping the Glacial Fissure was certainly up there. As Keria now finds himself a couple of friends. Undertow lands. Depth Charge comes out, but Keria is going to survive. Flash now on cooldown. Deft is making it rain just quietly. Deft is sitting on 2-0-1 now and has himself a decent CS advantage and is the only player in the game with a bounty. Just one of those Deft things that happens. Just feels like he gets himself further and further ahead. If you leave him alone, he will just win the game. So SANDBOX haven't done their due diligence to get rid of what can be a hard carry for this DragonX squad. Good sidestep there from Doran and does break the chains as well. Gives Summit a stun for his time. But lane swap is now in effect, and this top outer turret is where DragonX are putting their time. Oh, good bubble lands there. Dove trying to come on in. Chovy lands the Chaos Storm, but is still going to fall. That's what happens. This is mid-game. This is Zoe time. And already, Dove demonstrating what you can do at this point. And Shirley is going to come out and see whether she can get some work done here in the mid lane. And Keria is going for an engage. Deft does turn up. Bullet time now available. Shirley is going to be taken down. It doesn't get rid of that turret, but does leave it on its last legs.
Summit down here now in bot lane, trying to just raise this last turret. As he's going to take a trade onto Doran. Takes the turret shot. World Ender.
Okay, he's going aggressive. Slicing Maelstrom does come in. No more minions are in here. The flash has to be used to Summit. Goes for it once again, but now no dashes, no flashes, and no kills under that turret either. And Doran holds onto his flash in amongst all of it.
Summit messing up a little bit mechanically. Not something you'd expect out of him. He actually had the Pansy Feet to be at the very edge of that Maelstrom, but eventually went back in, having to blow his flash. Doran able to retain his. Definitely a very big victory for DragonX, especially with the Infernal Dragon coming up in just 5 seconds. You can see Doran's going to be the first one to get the reset off, and now is Summit going to want to actually expend his teleport here. Not that it's really the end of the world. I mean, this is the only major neutral that is up and is going to be up for the foreseeable future. As
this is actually very scary because both SANDBOX and DragonX have pretty fantastic poke coming out of things like the Zoe, the Victor, the Misfortune, even the Cannon in the laning phase at least, or at least if he's in a side lane trying to go up against Summit. So Infernal Soul is going to be fought over by both of these teams a lot. This is very important. First one going to go over to DragonX. They get their first 5%. Doesn't mean too much. As we have a look at this once
even
again.
worse,
Sorry,
Atlas.
4, yeah.
like Jhin.
Yeah.
You know?
Not the kind of 4 that Jhin would really want, though. Let's be honest, as Ragnarok was popped, and that was a very dead Chovy.
And we're back in, you know, a little bit of a lull state currently, as we're gonna have ping pong. And another redemption picked up. Dove is honestly just
he's the best Zoe. That's how you determine the best Zoe. Yeah.
Okay.
As Deft has been he's been looting pantries. He's got a whole bunch of plates. Put him in his back pocket. Got a couple of kills here as well. As Doran's going to once again find Summit. Blast. Oh, interrupted.
Tell him to sit down.
And there's the World Ender, but this time the Slicing Maelstrom's in a good position. Great healing coming through from the Aatrox, but that is going to be one of the Qs dodged. Second one dodged, third one dodged, and the stun should be coming through soon. Infernal Chains were in a great position. Forced the flash out there from Doran, but otherwise played excellently from the Cannon.
You can see Summit wanting to get really aggressive, and Dove here even able to go tit-for-tat against Chovy's Victor, bringing him to very low HP value. Now, here's the big question mark. Oblivion Orb picked up on Doran second, despite the enemy team already has magic resistance, and they're incentivized to build more due to the Victor that is already on the team, as well as the Cannon. So even if it ends up going into Morellonomicon, there's even less healing than Aatrox normally has, as Conqueror is missing.
Now, I don't think Morellonomicon is the right choice here. I don't mind Oblivion Orb, just alongside the Sorcerer's Shoes. Because,
gives you the 33 pen.
Because Doran, his job is getting into a backline and murdering Leo. And he can do it pretty consistently, because there's not a lot of hard CC that can interrupt something like the Slicing Maelstrom. You need to be able to displace the Cannon to get him away from Leo, and I think that, honestly, Slicing Maelstrom would just kill him. Kill Leo in almost one rotation.
If he can get onto Aphelios through everyone else, that'll be really good. So Because Aphelios, yes, you're absolutely right. He is going to be the least likely to have the magic resistance as he just completed a second core item. We'll see what he ends up going into as his third item. But in every other situation, you'll have wanted the Void Staff to work through everyone else. Or even Leandri's.
Or Azanya's. I think Doran probably wants to build that as quickly as he can, or at least get himself a stopwatch. Doesn't have it just yet. We'll see whether the Kennon's going to go back and prove us wrong or right about his build path. But, it's his first game here in the LCK, and he wants to make us proud. So I believe in you, Doran. You can do it. Puts down his control ward. He's going to go back to base. And Deft possibly jumped on him. Moonlight Vigil does come down. Bullet time. Flash immediately out. Deft is going to survive, but now doesn't have ult or his biggest cooldown.
Now, at this point, DragonX, they're still only ahead about 1,500 after they pick up some of these side lanes. And take over.
Are you alright? What happened?
Did you see the cannon?
Yeah, he got out of the way. Oh, the cannon. Yeah, no, I did see that, but I've trained myself to ignore getting tilted by cannons. We've been let down too much.
Well, we got about a minute until the Infernal comes up, so no action until then. Are there any new movies coming out, Atlas?
Nothing that I've really been
It's really been very bland.
It's been quite dry.
It sucks for like the last 8 months or something, right? Since Joker.
Yep.
Actually, Joker was the last good one, and then before that, there wasn't really anything.
Yep.
Once
Upon a Time in Hollywood was another fantastic one. That was a little bit earlier than that.
The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
I actually left the theater upset.
Yeah.
I really thought they were going to go in an entirely different direction, and they didn't.
And they kept our hopes up for a really long time as well. That's a blasting wand, and I'm disappointed in Doran as Keria.
Oh!
A bit disappointed in him as well, but does have the aftershock, and the Gargoyle Stone Plate keeps him alive for a very long time. The flash to get out of the way was trying to bait OnFleek. It looks like he's going to survive. Bubble onto Pyosik means that he can't continue any follow-up. As Summit stays towards the top side, Doran is just clearing things out in the mid. Drake up again in 7 seconds time, and that's where DragonX want to be. Want to try and contest for that potential Dragon Soul coming in next after this one does come down. SANDBOX are in position. Cannon, no flash available, but Slicing Maelstrom is there. We're looking for a bubble. Dove doesn't find it. Teleport to come in. Doran in an awkward position right now as he shoots Summit with his sword. Drake now, it's going to be a 50-50. Locked down by the Rek'Sai, and there's the bullet time as well. Deft gets the full channel off, and Gorilla has to get the hell out of there, but in comes Summit. Finds the better position, and Chovy's going to go down. Keria falls at the same time as now Deft in so much trouble. Pyosik does lock down the Aatrox, but the damage has been done. Leo able to survive on the edge of the Slicing Maelstrom, and Pyosik wonders where the heck all of his buddies just went.
So that was one of the most opportunistic team fights that SANDBOX could have just hoped for, honestly. As
Pyosik?
Yeah, he might flash. Oh, he finds a tunnel.
He does. Gets through that wall. That was very cheeky, but the Baron is now getting taken here. No vision available, but also no people available.
Yeah.
So this should just be taken. 26 minutes into the game, SANDBOX found their opening, and that wasn't just a little bit of a punch. That was a knockout. As Keria comes on over, and he's going to see the inevitable. Well, thought about it, and I think that was an early smite coming through from OnFleek as well, but you're not going to be able to do anything with just a depth charge and no flash or a blast phone.
We'll take a look.
Have a look at it again.
At this, as DragonX clearly wants to get the Infernal Dragon. They end up getting it, but then Nautilus ends up getting locked up. Aphelios doing massive damage. Kennen can't enter the fray, and Summit on Aatrox just destroying everyone as the cooldowns were expended on DragonX. And this is what I meant by opportunistic, is Kennen isn't able to get in there, and then everyone else is so disjointed.
Yeah, and also Kennen without flash is way less dangerous than any other kind of Kennen. So Doran does have it available now and does finish the Forbidden Book as well. It's not what you want to see. still, not all over for DragonX, only a 2,000 gold advantage, but with this Baron buff, SANDBOX are very, very scary. They have massive range from their AD carry, and they have a Zoe, the siege monster herself. Now Doran trying to defend against SANDBOX's split-pushing Aatrox. Pyosik coming on down here. They do get the knock-up. Slicing Maelstrom comes in as well, but that's a very golden Aatrox, keeping himself alive for quite some time. Worldender will get a lot of healing, and he's utilizing it so well. Now in comes OnFleek, and Summit will survive for the moment. No one on DragonX is going to fall, and they do keep the turret alive.
So, Summit gonna be able to, yeah, Summit gonna be able to live there. They have a minute and a half to still stave off. And if they can do it, they'll get one more chance to get to that Infernal Soul. And that's the real danger right now for SANDBOX, is that DragonX is threatening that Infernal Soul.
Deft has Flash, Doran has Flash. As long as DragonX can hold on to those 2 cooldowns before the next Dragon fight, there is certainly a chance for DragonX to find their dream team fight. It is a tall order because SANDBOX are not going to give up the pressure to the team that is known to play fast and loose League of Legends. As Leo, this combo, Crescendum and Calibrum together is just really nutty with these chakrams going everywhere from gigantic range. I think that one is quite rude, that combination. Now we've got defense on multiple fronts, but this inner turret is easily going to be taken, and that gold lead continues to stretch. Getting closer and closer to 6,000, and we're basically cresting it right now. Minion wave going to be dealt with. Drake in 1 minute and 10 seconds time. This will be the team fight that decides the game.
Rabadon's death cap, not sure actually how far away Zoe is from it. She did just come off a fountain. Also has the ability to sell the corrupting potion for a couple hundred, so when you factor in Zoe's gold per minute, just have to wonder how close she is. It would be really big if there was somehow a way for her to have this before the Infernal Drake, and if there isn't, it's really important that she just purchase a Sorc Elixir to get as much AP as possible, but it doesn't look like Dove is actually interested in going back, so maybe we see a ping off on that wave. That could be Dove saying, I just need this for death cap.
Doesn't have teleports or anything like that, so we'll have to try and get back as quickly as possible as Doran. Oh, if that Infernal Chain had have gone off, that would have meant Flash, and that would have meant the next team fight.
3 items for both AD carries, double stopwatch on the side for both of these teams.
Ooh, Bubble is going to land here. Good tunnel, gets Pyosik out of the way as Keria trying to buy some space. Has the Gargoyle Stone Plate. Now they're looking for a team fight.
Summit's dead.
In so much trouble, down to his GA. Will be respawning, but in goes Doran now. He finds Gorilla, he finds Summit, but otherwise, he doesn't find anything. He needs to be on Leo, but he was nowhere in sight. And the Aphelios is going to get the revenge onto him as Keria, not sure what that was, as Pyosik tunnels in, tunnels out. DragonX feels like they've lost the team fight before it's even started.
Yeah, there was absolutely no reason for Doran to do that. And he just threw away the Infernal Dragon by rushing way too hard. And so now it doesn't mean that DragonX is going to lose this by any means. This starts off with a bubble landing onto Pyosik. He ends up getting out of it, going back through his tunnel really quickly. Summit gets brought down, and then watch Doran. He just Leroy Jenkins right into the front line. And you can understand what he's trying to achieve, but it's very, very needless to do it in such an aggressive manner, especially from the angle that all of his teammates would have to approach from.
And they're also fighting in the perfect place for a Zoe as well. I mean, Dove had an absolute field day because there was no way that he was missing any of his bubbles. He had so many walls to throw them through. It's just, you got to play around your composition, and DragonX straight up did not do that in the last fight. Still, like you say, it's not over. It's not like they're fighting for who gets the Dragon Soul. It's only DragonX that can get it from the next Drake as well. But as this game goes on, it feels like SANDBOX will be able to strangle DragonX out of more resources. It should be able to make it more and more difficult for this squad. And we're still at a time of the game where Zoe is extraordinarily strong. OnFleek remains relevant. And Leo's going to get stronger and stronger already with an item advantage over Deft. Even has that CS lead as well, just with how anemic DragonX have been. The map has certainly closed in on them over the last few minutes. Didn't even have to use the stopwatch on Leo's side. Stopwatch going to be very, very important. And Doran really wants to build towards his Zhonya so that he can at least go into stasis for the next team fight as well. QSS is done for Deft though, so that could be great news for DragonX fans in the next team fight. Not all over yet, but the Baron has been started. Leo's got the crescendo. He does so much damage to this. There is no way Pyosik is even getting in here. Gorilla makes sure of that with a Glacial Fissure. And that is an uncontested Baron just with how much map control SANDBOX had for themselves.
Doran didn't even have anywhere that he could try to flank teleport to, even if DragonX wanted to try to take a team fight. And so it just looks like a slow and steady death. And I want to point out that even though Victor isn't a problem necessarily inside of this game, we're also seeing why he hasn't been picked for a very long time. He has Ludens, he has Hexcore, he's had them for a very long time.
Yeah.
Victor is really, really expensive for what he offers, and it takes him an extremely long time to get online for what he offers. And so, even in this game, he's sitting on the Blasphemon, he's sitting on the Amp Tome.
It
should be Void Stat. There it is.
Yeah.
Chovy is a bit of a savant.
Yeah.
So.
At least he's got the right build, but it's also the wrong champion. So, a little bit rough. However, good to see it. And we have Zhonya's completed here for Doran as well. Some item completions coming in now for DragonX, but we're going to have even more on the side of SANDBOX. That death cap that we were talking about is done for 3 items on Dove. We've got just luxury items to complete now for Leo. He's basically sorted. Now Deft with a big overshield. Trying to defend this inhibitor turret. Make It Rain is going to guarantee that siege minion, but there will be more waves coming forward. We have multiple fronts that SANDBOX is pushing in on.
And so if DragonX would be able to, again, survive through this push, through this siege, and make it to the Infernal Dragon, they would still have a Hail Mary left inside of this game. They're definitely going to lose the bottom inhibitor. That's at the very least. Next wave, almost there in mid. Doran might just panic and pull the trigger soon. Never mind, he's going to Lightning Rush away.
Yeah, and losing 2 inhibitors, that's not as easy to deal with as Deft is going to get pulled back, does have flash available, uses the QSS and just dies. Cannot even press his D button whatsoever in that team fight. Pyosik has to tunnel his way out. The Nautilus just dead as Doran doesn't even go golden in the fight. DragonX looks like they've collapsed as their Nexus turrets are doing the same. SANDBOX continue on their tear in the LCK during game 1 against DragonX. They'll need to do it again, but damn is momentum on their side as it's only a Nexus between them and continuing their undefeated streak. Okay, that's a Void Rush. That's Leo just shooting the Rek'Sai in the head. Chovy's going to follow suit. He'll go down. The ace comes in just before the Nexus falls, and SANDBOX pick up the win.
They end up picking up the win, and it all started with that one team fight where Doran just couldn't enter in. Everyone ended up getting killed.
Yep.
And so it was a really big opportunity that SANDBOX capitalized on, and then it happened yet again. So if there were a way to give the MVP to someone on the enemy team, it would.
I don't even know which member of the enemy team you'd give it to be perfectly honest.
Doran. I would. But nonetheless, I'm gonna. I actually think it's Summit for MVP, even though Dove had so many bubbles. He got a lot of key pickoffs and he dealt enormous amounts of damage, but a lot of the major turning points around neutral objectives that pole vaulted them back into the game was on the back of his Aatrox.
Yeah, and also being able to start fights and win out in that flanking war is why they were able to win that one team fight that honestly won SANDBOX the game. So I can understand that. I gave my vote over to Dove just because he played such consistent mid-game Zoe, which is exactly what you need from that champion. He was landing the bubbles where he needed to. Keria seemed like a bubble magnet. No one could escape from this guy Zoe, and a Zoe that's played that well makes you remember just how busted the champion really is.
Seeing a replay here at the very end. Deft QSS's but didn't flash.
Yeah.
And so a little bit unexpected of someone of Deft's caliber to see that kind of mistake. Doran using his Slicing Maelstrom after the Zanyas. And honestly, just had a very off game. So, this brings me to the question, do we see Quad come into the mid lane, Chovy subbed out, Doran subbed out, and Trainer Red make his way up to the top?
Well, Chovy versus Summit could certainly be a fun one, as Pyosik just trying to D-pad that KDA. Wants to get as many deaths in that column as possible as we have a look at the pro view from Summit.
Oh,
Max range, and he was as surprised as we were.
Notice the mouse proximity. That's one of the things that you can look for when Summit is doing everything that he's doing. You want to try to click as close to your champion as possible to have more control over the champion's avatar, make him turn, make the avatar be where you want it to.
And I love this. This is the perfect example of a Zoe composition. It hits 25 minutes into the game, and then you just win.
Zoe bubbles are pretty nice.
Yeah, especially around that time where you're able to catch people walking around through the jungle, things like that. It's a composition that needed to win around then as well before the Olaf became irrelevant. That being said, they're staring down this Rek'Sai composition, and Rek'Sai does a similar thing to Olaf. Doesn't necessarily dominate or anything like that. So, we are going to be going to a short break when we get back. Game number 2 between SANDBOX and DragonX. See whether DragonX can pull up their bootstraps and bring us to a game number 3. We'll find out after the break. Welcome back, guys. I was the one lonely dove vote. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. All right. Into game number 2. Congratulations to Summit. He did play very well, but still thought that Dove was
do you hear
pretty
production?
strong. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Our producer just giggling along. At the same time, Doran going to be staying in, not going to be getting any subs there. Quad not going to be making his way onto this roster. They're sticking with their top laner of choice. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to mute production because they're still giggling, and it's not helping me out. Into ban and pick for game number 2. We'll see what DragonX are going to do on the blue side. I think Aphelios is going to be a pick to watch out for. We'll see whether the priority on the Rek'Sai is going to continue. I also think that the Nautilus priority that they had in game number 1 was odd. I don't think you necessarily need to prioritize that one so highly. So something like an Ornn could have come through instead, possibly even put into the bottom lane.
Yeah, and so we'll see what changes up this time around as Olaf has been banned away.
Yep, Akali, the necessary ban to come in here. As we see almost all the time. See what else they're going to take away on SANDBOX's side. And Set is going to leave the Rift. Final ban for DragonX. No more Olafs. It looks like it's entirely an OnFleek ban phase. They could just ban Rek'Sai here. Theoretically. 1 second to go. Renekton off the board. Wonder what this means for what Doran's going to be prioritizing towards the top side.
Well, Renekton getting banned away and Set having already been removed. Now, again, I'm really curious why DragonX didn't try to go with the Soraka last game.
Yeah.
Because neutralizing and just being supportive is probably all that Doran needs to do, but as you mentioned last game, it's not what he has tended to want to do, though, stylistically, as a player.
Aphelios is probably going to be locked in here from DragonX. We know that Deft very, very good on that. What the heck? Why?
I'm about to walk out. You know,
yikes. That's,
I think Summit is even confused as to what is going on. But maybe they want to see if SANDBOX will walk into some sort of a I have no idea, actually.
I don't know.
You know what's so perplexing to me is that somehow in the pick ban discussion, we have concluded that champions like Elise and Lucian are somehow more problematic than champions like Aphelios and Misfortune, and I just can't.
I find it
I
very
actually just
confusing.
really can't. So
this is pretty powerful for SANDBOX, basically getting the 2 next highest priority champions for their particular team. Rek'Sai just seems like she's on a different level when piloted by OnFleek. The Lee Sin to be locked in here by Pyosik. It was banned in game number 1. Somehow we've got Doran playing.
Wait, maybe it was first pick Rek'Sai.
Then what did
What is
OnFleek
the
just pick?
Lee Sin? I don't know. We're getting some panels. Okay,
No, it was Nautilus.
It was Nautilus.
It's just that production was as confused as we are about that pickup.
As Misfortune ends up getting picked up along with the Lee Sin, and honestly, I think this B1 through
Zoe.
B3 is really, really weak out of DragonX.
Yeah.
I really, really hate it. I think it's so vulnerable. You have 2 champions that are very one-dimensional in their style and their approach. Zoe coming in here, maybe we see a Syndra ban this time around. I was honestly very surprised to see Chovy pick up the victor last time, and this is mostly because Chovy hasn't liked champions of that archetype in the past. He's actually said that in interviews.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting to see him pull out the victor into the Zoe when other champions do exist. We'll see, maybe, if he pulls something out like Cassiopeia this time around and just tries to be a little bit more aggressive. I can imagine he would want more control over the game than having such a long ramp time.
I wouldn't mind it. Or the Ryze. I think Ryze would be another choice that Chovy could make here, although not exactly the greatest of matchups into the Zoe. Syndra is, like you say, going to be taken off the board, and if Braum isn't banned here, it will be picked by SANDBOX, as Aurelia is what's taken off the board.
Ah, man.
Just waiting.
You ready for the Braum, Tom?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's happening.
The Braum Tom.
Yeah.
That's what, that's it. Braum Totalus. Braum Tomalus. Braum Tomalus. There you go.
Well, I mean, Aatrox is another option if SANDBOX just want to prioritize it.
Now you know what this means.
What does this mean?
Counterpick support. So,
here we go. But they could already basically counterpick support, unless we were sending Nautilus to the mid lane.
What I mean is they can wait. I'm whispering right now because, you know, I don't want to get too excited.
Yeah,
I don't want to get anyone too excited yet.
Looks like we are going to have a solo lane Nautilus somewhere.
Why
Maybe.
Kennen, man?
Well,
Stop!
We're still locking in the Kenny. That's a Heimerdinger.
Heimer actually counters Zoe really hard. Really, really hard. You place the turret if she bubbles you, and then the turret absorbs everything. And outside of that, when Zoe uses her R, she's locked into animation, so Heimer gets a free stun. So it is going to be... What a bizarre approach.
It's like they were playing the mind games, but they weren't
Just
even very
pick
good
Morgana.
mind games.
Just lock in Morgana. Please, Gorilla. Just say Morgana is the pick here. The Black Shield against so many of DragonX's champions is just so good. He's hovering Alistar. Just Unwell Life and Afrika can't come quick enough. I'll tell you that much.
Well, SANDBOX might be making this one a quicker game. It feels like their draft is exactly what they wanted. DRX did nothing to stop them from moving towards exactly the compositions that they've been winning on consistently in this first week. Possibly their final game. Remember, if SANDBOX win this, Afrika can only tie for first place against SANDBOX right now. It'll be a very dominant start to the season for this team, and DragonX is by no means a squad that can be easily overlooked. So after their win against APK Prince, we were wondering whether they could do it against tougher composition. And after Game 1 and the draft of Game 2, it's feeling like a massive uphill battle for this DragonX squad. A possibility that they can do it, but the composition just feels exactly the same, but with a Nautilus in the mid lane instead of a Victor.
The Nautilus is going to allow Chovy even less control in terms of his ability to influence things on his own accord. So this to me feels like they're putting a lot of the eggs in the Deft basket, and they're going to try to do things through that way. Now, obviously Nautilus, he has the wave clear, is very durable, able to resist the Zoe. And he can do things, he can transition into the mid stage of the game and be a nuisance. And with the Thresh and the Nautilus, they do have a lot of obnoxious CC in lockdown, but just not the kind of approach I would expect out of DragonX, and honestly, it leaves me very surprised, but we'll see what they do with it.
Yeah. Still, here we are, onto the Rift for game number 2. Chovy with his Aftershock Nautilus. Definitely how you play as far as mid lane Naut is concerned. Basically every Nautilus is going to be taking that one. Corrupting Potion. We'll see whether he goes towards the Dash Cannon as first item. As now Gorilla is going to spot every member of DragonX moving on
really
forward.
nice blitz skin, by the way.
Yeah, super cool. I haven't actually seen that one before.
Yeah, I've never seen that. And if you're a Blitzcrank player yourself, you're listening to this, make sure to pick that one up in the shop.
Yep, you can head over there. You can buy it with Riot points.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And another really cool thing to do, is that the Prestige Misfortune?
Oh, that is. I think Deft may have upgraded his skin choice. Unless he was using that in the last game. I don't quite remember.
I do believe that is the Prestige MF. That's how you let everyone know. Okay, that you mean business.
Yep, and Deft is a player that likes to tell people that he means business. Gathering Storm to demonstrate that he still means business.
Everything is pretty standard across the board. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Still the Electrocute up there on the Aatrox.
Did Dove take the Spellbook last time as well? I don't think so.
Well, the Spellbook is pretty standard in lanes where you can't outright win or do anything.
Okay.
It'll help you scale into later stages, but also having something like the Electrocute against tanks or something is not going to be the most ideal. Having more utility available to you, because like we said, there's a lot of CC and lockdown on the side of DragonX, and so all that you would need to do is be able to provide more utility through having more access to summoner spells like Ghost or Cleanse or anything of that nature in the later stages of the game is going to be really big. We shall see.
Let's see whether Pyosik can get more done in this early game. It's not going to be that invade start and 3 buff that OnFleek demonstrated in game number 1. Might be that Pyosik has a better time this time around, going for a full clear top side into most likely full clear bottom side as well. So not going to be ganking anyone too soon. See whether the junglers meet around this bottom side Scuttle Crab. Well, just watching some laning happen here on the bottom side. It's a good double up there from Deft, but landing onto a tank, not exactly what you want. It's Chovy bearing the brunt of what is an annoying lane for anyone, but especially if you are helplessly melee.
So far, everything, though, is pretty standard. Kennen has the opportunity to just recall here, and doesn't. Just places a call, or just places a ward down instead of recalling.
To try and pressure Summit off some of these waves, potentially, is OnFleek possibly going to get scouted here, but not going to. Tremor Sense, in fact, giving away the position of the Lee Sin. As you can see, Keria just sweeping out some wards here towards the bottom side, as Pyosik's going to be, oh, okay.
Proto Belt.
Yeah, taking a bit of damage here. Proto Belt was picked up from the minion wave.
And you can see that Chovy, he wants to recall, so if Dove would just shove this with Proto Belt and get the leg up on it, relative to the incoming minion wave that you just left the Nexus, that would be really good, but now he's low on the trigger, and yet again, we saw this from Dub in game number 1. He's channeling recall, but obviously that isn't real. He's waiting for the... That can't be real.
Yeah, no, it's not real.
Okay.
Not real. Doran, he knows that OnFleek is in the area, but he has Lightning Rush. He will be safe. See how this lane is going to go. Getting a do-over on the cannon might show us exactly why this was prioritized so high. Of course, recently in the LCS, I believe you watched this. Huni playing some cannon, bringing it back.
Yep, I did see that game.
Yep. Enjoyed it? Liked it? It was a fun one for you?
No. You know what I really did enjoy? It was the CLG game, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh.
Not because I'm affiliated with them, but I got to see Soraka.
Yeah,
so
that's why we're Helmet Life fans over here as well.
CLG didn't actually win that game. Soraka did.
Yeah.
But that's that's really cool.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure to see her. And also, she's not nerfed in 10-3, which means another 2 weeks.
Just gonna see more and more Soraka.
I am extremely excited for that.
We'll see just how gutted she gets after that as well. That double up, not what you want.
What I'm really dreading, yeah, is seeing what is actually going to end up happening to her.
See how much she's gonna get put in the bin. Maybe she'll get like her W buffed by like a lot, and the rest of her kit just destroyed. So we just push her into the bottom lane even further.
Well, what's currently on the PBE is her Q damage to minions is reduced by a great deal.
Okay.
But that isn't what is making her obnoxious or strong. So we'll have to see what else Riot ends up coming up with. There's also some other changes that I saw people tweet at me that were really interesting to some champions. So I'm actually really looking forward to 10-4 as much as this gank.
Ooh, yeah, nice flash out from Dove, but still successful gank from Pyosik. Chovy staying up in CS. This is Chovy's superpower, is always being able to stay competitive in CS in melee versus range matchups. Just always seems to be able to do it. Showmaker, another example of a player that does do that, just somehow. That's a flash dredgeline miss, and OnFleek just tunnels out of the way. That's called a whoopsie. But the bubble is not going to be successful. Dove picks up a flash. Good stun there from the passive from Chovy, but otherwise we're just going to be slinking away, tail between our legs. It's not how you want to utilize your flash in the mid lane there, Chovy.
Now Cannon's going to end up recalling.
OnFleek's been pretty quiet so far this game, currently ahead by about a camp.
This was the same exact way that game number 1 played out. Doran going to take a very big trade.
Yeah, Summit looking for it, and
OnFleek got him.
Oh
no!
No, gonna miss the Prey Seeker, doesn't have level 6. Flash has to be used to get Doran out of the way.
The Prey Seeker was so greedy and needless. He can easily just get on in there with Flash and Tunnel.
Yeah.
Uses the burrow, gets right in, Flash knock-up with Chilling Smite. Prey Seeker wouldn't be necessary.
But this way they get a flash without having to expend OnFleek's flash, which could be a positive here, as Paddlestar is not going to find the sweet spot onto Chovy. And he's going to be A-OK.
Summit can just recall right now, although there is a Scuttle Crab up. Maybe he's going to go over and pick that up himself, as OnFleek is going to just get his red buff, and then I assume his Raptor Camp. So, a very slow game going on.
Yeah. Oh, there's a hook from Gorilla, as we're just going to chase after them. Keria was expecting a juke. Gorilla says nope, not a bad juke in this game. If he wasn't expecting a juke, he was just straight up throwing the hook into the wrong direction. But now that the lane's underneath the turret, everything's just easy here for the SANDBOX. They should be losing their blue buff. Pyosik going to come in, help tank that one up, so good steal. And will deny Zoe a blue, which is great news. Gorilla comes on over, puts down that ward, spots Deft moving back to the lane. Not going to spot Keria though, who's moving up towards the mid lane to help clear things out. Now going to be heading towards Shelly to see whether there's vision in that area as well. Alright, Moonlight Vigil just avoided by Deft. Good footwork from the Misfortune. That's why you buy the early brown bags, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
will help you avoid some of these skill shots.
Goal score is dead even currently.
And it's interesting because you talk about, you know, games being even and things like that. I don't think we're necessarily experiencing any one of these compositions necessarily coming out ahead just yet. Both of them very strong in the mid game if they can play the game the way they want to.
Yes.
So SANDBOX very fast and loose. DragonX more about getting those team fights, advantageous flank locations for the cannon and things like that. And Chovy being able to play frontline is going to be the difference for this composition. DragonX probably favored if we get to a late game scenario. But otherwise, both of them happy with fights around the mid game.
Well, the other thing about this is that at this current point in time, no dragon has been taken, no Rift Herald either, which means that we are in store for a very long game if souls would end up being something that comes on the menu. Now, However, every soul is going to be pretty valuable, with the exception of if DragonX would get the Mountain Soul, that'd be less valuable. Because the way that SANDBOX conducts their team fights is mostly on the back foot of a Zoe Sleepy Trouble Bubble, or is it Sleepy Bubble Trouble?
You say Sleepy Bubble Trouble, but that's wrong. It's Sleepy
Trouble Bubble. That's what I said first, Alex.
Yeah, you did. You got it
yeah,
right.
I did. I got it right.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Okay, thank you.
I feel like you're growing.
Ooh. I actually stopped growing.
Oh, really?
A couple of years ago, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Dang it, I'm still growing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I stopped growing vertically. I just grow horizontally now. Pyosik diving onto this Cloud Drake. We're hoping that a Mountain does come up as the next one if we want to get these spicy Drake options for our Dragon Soul. OnFleek throwing in a Prey Seeker, but only to see where these players are. Not going to go for anything. Hook is going to get a hook out of Leo. That is exactly what you want. Trading a hook on a Thresh for a hook on an Aphelios is a good news story. I don't even know whether it was going to hit there from Keria, but Leo is scared enough to give it the respect that it deserves.
Well, gold score continues to be relatively even. DragonX picking up that initial Cloud Dragon. It actually is somewhat meaningful. Nautilus doesn't tend to get a whole bunch of CDR, and neither does Kennen with the way that they itemize. So for those two champions in particular, it is quite big.
Yeah.
That's very nice, as Ocean Dragon's going to be the next one. So it will be either the fabled Mountain or Infernal Soul that's going to come up this game. And Infernal creates a lot of action for both teams.
I feel like SANDBOX would be very happy with an Infernal Soul spawning this game. Mountain Soul would help DragonX quite a lot, actually, given the fact that they do have Thresh and the Nautilus in this game. They do have Frontline this time around. So we'll be able to utilize that with their burly bodies. We're going to try and play front to back. A different composition, certainly a more comfortable composition for DragonX as far as ease of access. But SANDBOX have exactly what they want in every single way, so it's still frightening if you're a DragonX fan. 1,000 gold is going to be the lead here as Deft in trouble. Leo looking for him, has the Calibrum. Gets the ward down. Q is dodged, but now we're just chilling in an alcove, and the heal has to be utilized there from Deft to get out of the way. That's a win, but Leo still doesn't have his flash available just yet. Might be considered more susceptible to any ganks. Deft holding onto that flash button certainly is a good news story for DragonX. Looks like Chovy's going to be building straight into his onion this game.
Yeah, he has the Amplifying Tome. He's been sitting on it for a while, though. We'll see if he actually ends up going straight into it. As misses another hook.
But we land the Q. Pyosik, he's one on the board, nailing it.
Okay, everyone's
going to go wide, yep. Another hook going to
Except
go wide,
Gorilla.
but Deft is going to get picked up. Oh no! Keria goes golden. Deft can't really get into a good position here. Has the bullet time, hasn't used it. Doran just going to get rid of Leo. That's exactly what his job is. As Pyosik takes down the Rek'Sai on the top side. Now we've got a bullet time. More acting to try and get rid of Doran, and that sidestep from Deft was just beautiful. Summit gonna go down at the hands of the AD carry from DragonX, and that's the team fight that DragonX fans have been looking for. Bubble going to land, Flash to get out of the way of the hook from Chovy. Multiple hooks coming through from DragonX. That one gonna be avoided, but Dove watches the team fight fall apart around him.
Yeah, and that was a very key actual team fight this game, as Summit, he stood in the middle of the bullet time, I think overestimating his damage on the Kennen there. Take a look how it all transpires. Chovy misses his hook to the north, Keria misses his hook to the south, and then Gorilla lands the hook right in the right place as Leo
was blind.
Yeah. Now, the thing about this is Leo actually takes the kill away from Summit, who had the World Ender. And so that was a little bit surprising. He could have saved his ultimate for a much better usage than just to take away the Thresh that the Aatrox would have been able to kill anyway.
Yeah.
And then Summit standing inside of the bullet time. Dove right at the very end ends up flashing away as we come back into live. OnFleek.
Good flash from Doran, but followed by Summit and put into the ground. Screencasters losing their minds in the background. But just coming out of a replay into that, certainly going to be surprising anyone, is now Dove in a bit of trouble. There's the depth charge. Good double knock-up. The kickback was super weird. You're exactly right, as Pyosik safeguards to get out of the way of OnFleek. Great hook from Keria, as Dove is going to survive, but the Rek'Sai not so lucky. And this is going to be an example of one of those games where SANDBOX has to fight from behind.
And they're usually really bad at this.
Yes.
Usually when SANDBOX is behind, they fall completely apart, and I think that a lot of it has to do with the tendency to where they conduct themselves as if they're even or ahead, even when they're behind.
And last game they were behind in the earlier stages of the game, but never truly, you know, never massively, and OnFleek was still in a good position. Now OnFleek is 0-2, which is a very different outcome. So we have a look at what happened there. Doran flashing at the right time, but Summit has his flash to get over and pick up that kill.
And then right here, Dove using that paddle star, Gorilla here as well, double knockup, very weird interaction. And then watch Chovy again, these hooks. I mean, he's doing his best Tarzan impression when it comes to skill shots, so a little unfortunate right there.
Still, landing that hook through the minion wave to start off that fight was certainly a great way to get his team even further ahead. Close to 2.2 thousand, so it's not massive just yet. As Doran's going for Spellbind a second. I like it. It's not a Morellonometer. Beautiful. SANDBOX going to be taking this Ocean Drake. And we'll have a look at what Rift. It's an Infernal Rift once again. Great news for SANDBOX. As Shirley just puts her face into the outer turret mid. No turret plates or anything like that, so it didn't need to be present for that turret being chunked. Leo and Gorilla just stand vigil outside their own outer turret. Have a little bit of roaming, and this is the time where Zoe starts to really earn her keep.
Yeah, this is where she has Luden's Echo. We're starting to enter into the mid game. And Lee Sin still a bit ways away from completing that Black Cleaver.
Outer turret top lane going to be taken. Still just that outer in the mid lane before the entire outer ring is done. Doran up here, this is just feeling like a much different game from DragonX. They're feeling tighter. It feels like this squad has sat down with CV Max and he's given them the secret stuff, told them what they need to do. Dove pushes in the bottom lane outer, but not going to be able to get too much more, as this is a very different gold graph to what we were seeing in game one. It was very stagnant. DragonX just laning a little bit better, I think. Able to get a few more of those minions, but this time it's that one team fight. Able to get DragonX into a great position.
Yeah. And also at this stage, Infernal coming up in 3.5 minutes. That's obviously going to be a very key pickup for either party, really. As SANDBOX, they can definitely utilize it a lot better than DragonX can. Mostly because of the Thresh and the Nautilus don't get that much boost from the stats that it gives, but obviously Aphelios, Zoe, Rek'Sai, and Aatrox all...
I think for Zoe it's extremely important because it can be the difference between a one-shot or not, and you just add that extra ratio into your kit if you get the Infernal Soul. It's real scary stuff. Now Shirley pokes her head up and says, whoa, I got a whole bunch of friends here, and they are immediately going to take her down. Dove should be able to get rid of this turret, as there are more and more sparkles being applied to it. DragonX, they're not going to be too worried about it. They will move towards this mid lane and catch SANDBOX unawares. Looks like this tower should be just taken. As Pyosik, he's going to finish off Shirley, takes it. Now it'll be Chovy bringing up the rear there, but going to avoid every hook. That one's not avoided. As in goes the Naught. Massive damage as the bullet time flies overhead, and Summit, no GA this time, my friend. You are just dead, and this is what happens. SANDBOX take the same fights, but they have way less gold than they have in every other game so far in the LCK.
So Summit ends up dying here, and it really just looks like this game is running away from SANDBOX.
And this is what they do. They continue to try and force fights. As now Slice Maelstrom.
What?
I think Gorilla bit off way more than he could chew right there. Pyosik going to come down, slams the ground, and gets himself a robot with it. As Chovy going to take a lantern to safety and an inner turret as icing on the cake. After that easy pick-off onto Gorilla, double charges for Shirley as well. She is earning her keep on this Rift, as this map has become so wide and not in a way that this Zoe player wants it to.
Okay, I really have no idea what that Blitzcrank play just was up in top lane. We're going to take another look first at how this all transpires. Why is Summit and friends posturing like this in mid lane? There's no team fight that you should be looking for at this point, and defending the mid-tier 1 turret.
This is what we were talking about. This is what SANDBOX can't do. They can't play the slow and steady, let's try and stall this game out type style. You saw Doran intentionally walked into that hook because of course he wants to get hooked.
I have no idea what that just was. If R2-D2 was looking for some death with dignity, that is exactly what that Blitzcrank play just looked like.
He wants to get into Valhalla, needs to die on the battlefield, you know? Not going to do it, you know, once this game is over.
He ran up to Zoe,
like that.
Please end me.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, man. Well,
got to try and figure it out. Got to try and answer the questions there. But this is what SANDBOX do all the time. And it is just still playing on the front foot, despite the fact that they certainly should not be. We've got Black Cleaver completed. We've got Infinity Edge done from Deft. He's got his 2 items that make him very dangerous at this stage of the game. Currently has a level advantage as well. OnFleek's behind a level. Dove's the only one that's ahead so far in this game, as Doran and Summit are even. Now DragonX can fight around this Infernal Drake that's spawning in 6 seconds. That's a great hook as Chovy throws his own into Narnia, but the knockup party is there. Bullet time not enough to save the Nautilus, and the Paddle Stars are now here. That's exactly when SANDBOX needed to win a fight. Doran just not getting in position for any sort of flank at this stage. They will have to give this one up. First Infernal goes to SANDBOX, exactly what they want.
Yeah. This is all looking a little bit better now for SANDBOX, as they've managed to get that pick and then also convert it into the Infernal. So it's not over yet.
That's that upgraded hook right there from Gorilla.
And honestly, Gorilla has been really on point with his hooks this game.
Yeah.
Out of all the hookers,
he's even landing hooks that he shouldn't land.
Sorry, that sounded really
yeah.
all right.
Not talk about that, okay?
All right.
We do have actually all of the hook champions
Whoa.
in this game, as Keria has to flash
again.
To get out of the way of
Hook
Gorilla's
City.
amazing hook accuracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got double the hooks on DragonX's side, but it's Gorilla that's the most impressive. It's pretty sad, isn't it? But Chovy is at least going to keep himself alive with his dredge line. Moving on over, Pyosik in position. Does land himself a Q, but another bubble is going to come in. Enough distance created there so that the Paddle Star couldn't be layered on top. We've got the Zhonya's done now for Chovy, so that last moment that we saw, his little pick off there around the dragon, is not going to happen once again, most likely, as that one was collected. Spellbinder in for Doran as well. And Deft, you know, slowly but surely is getting himself towards 3 items before Leo has even got himself 2. So great news. Deft had a good early game last time as well, but just wasn't able to convert it into anything.
Yeah, I mean, so far, it's not out of it for DragonX by any means. They're still up several thousand gold, and in terms of team compositions, again, it is pretty even. Because the Zoe doesn't just have a ton of targets that she can one-shot, but also there's the ones that are shielded. So, obviously, Gorilla has been doing a great job to keep them in this. And aside from that one failed Turing test in top lane, he has been doing phenomenal work. Zoe going for the...
Yeah, gonna find that hook onto Chovy. Immediately goes golden underneath the turret. This might be the dive, though, as Doran has flash available. He can get onto that turret with his ult. Another hook lands from Keria. He's going so deep as the bullet time splits up this fight. It's a 1-for-1, make it a 1-for-2 so far, as Doran in the backline is exactly where he needs to be. The flash off from Chovy. He nails that one. This is going to be the ace, and DragonX got exactly what they wanted.
So that was the weirdest turn of events that I could have just ever anticipated happening. I really am looking forward to seeing the replay there.
It's called Int It to Win It, my friend.
Yeah.
It's subject Keria right now. That was stunning. Got so far with that hook, but it gave Doran the ability to get in while he was causing a kerfuffle. Really great stuff. As Keria has respawned, Doran does have teleport in 10 seconds.
The real tragedy here would be if Blitzcrank somehow steals the Baron with a hook. Here
would it be
comes.
a tragedy, or would it be what Gorilla deserves? Yeah, we've got a teleport coming from
DragonX
Summit.
Are they gonna?
Is this the counter throw? Is there's the hook onto Chovy? Brings him on over. He has no flash available as the Infernal Chain comes in. Pyosik trying to kick Gorilla away as we're continuing on this Baron. Pyosik dives into the pit. Early smite, but still, it's going to be okay. And now DragonX try to get out of there. Somehow Chovy survived that. No idea how. And they get everyone out with Barons.
So a bit of mechanical errors on the side of SANDBOX right there, allowing Chovy to get out. Take a look at this replay. As Gorilla, he hooks in Chovy. Chovy goes golden immediately. And then take a look at this. Chovy loses all of his HP. Keria goes for the death sentence, lands it onto Zoe, takes it into the entire enemy team. And then Summit goes into Deft and Chovy and Pyosik, and you have to wonder, what is he doing? So, had they just played defensively, played backwards, and kited into the World Ender, would have gotten a reset.
Well, that would have actually just been a free kill onto a Thresh and nothing else, right?
Well,
yeah.
Doran would have followed suit immediately after.
Yep.
And the whole team fight just would have been conducted way differently, but Summit, sort of what we were talking about, they play the same way as if they're ahead of the opponents, and so Fatrox has more items there and level leads. Maybe
then he can do what he did in game one. Exactly right.
A little different, but just absolutely needless greed when SANDBOX were slowly stabilizing the game state.
I swear, if SANDBOX learn how to play controlled League of Legends from behind and try and play around potential item timings and power spikes for their composition, play triage rather than aggressive, they will be one of the best teams in the LCK. However, they have consistently not been able to do that. As now they're looking to try and defend, as there's another hook that comes down from Chovy. Summit goes golden, as in goes Pyosik into the backline, Doran into the backline, but can't get anything done. Summit survives with all of the healing from the World Ender, and now the Moonlight Vigil comes in. Chovy trying to play frontline. He will be the sacrificial lamb as the hook goes wide. Everyone is dead.
Why are they?
In goes OnFleek. The kickback. Pyosik locks it down in the 1v1 at the end there. The Rek'Sai a little bit overly aggressive, and that's exactly what we were talking about, but still a great fight for SANDBOX.
It's a huge turnaround for SANDBOX. Also, Infernal Dragon was up, Atlas.
Yeah, we could have just gone back to that, couldn't we?
They could have backed up, gotten that. They didn't need to push as hard as they were. And again, both teams here actually just being very greedy. And now SANDBOX, they bring the game to Drake Point. That's what we're going to call that one.
I like
match point. Drake Point is now going to be on the table. Infernal is up. There's no mid-minion wave. And they are pushing this inhibitor. And for what? Kennen, he does stuff.
He went for the intentional get hooked, I think, and just didn't do anything. That's Calibrum Crescendum, by the way, guys. It's a pretty cool combination of guns for the old Eladios. That's real cute from Pyosik, though.
We can get them all. Listen, I got MF. That was a beautiful 1,000 gold shutdown.
That could be a turning point here for SANDBOX. That could have spelled the 2-0 despite the 6,000 gold lead. You've got Baron up in 2.5 minutes, and Infernal Soul being threatened by a SANDBOX squad that use it so well.
Other thing about this is that the item completions have come in.
Yep.
So Rabadon's Death Cap now completed for Zoe. Has a blasting one as well. See what she ends up going as her next item.
Doran has Void Staff completed, though, and we do have the Gargoyle Stoneplate done for Chovy. There are item completions on both sides of this matchup. And Pyosik, he's got the 3 items that Elysian really wants at this stage of the game as well. Just quietly, 4-0 and 4 this game. And he has been found, especially after that last Void Rush that he managed to outplay. That was really nicely done.
And the thing about Chovy getting his stone play is it doesn't really change how Nautilus is going to conduct himself inside of a team fight all that much.
He should probably be able to at least frontline for longer.
Yes.
With this item, but you're right.
Outside of that, though, I mean, SANDBOX are still going to conduct their team fights in roughly the same exact manner. It's just going to come down to, does MF die or not? Now, fortunately, Kennen, this time around, he has the Void Staff, so it will help against some of the targets on SANDBOX. Doesn't have that Morellonomicon this time around. Is Doran getting a little bit antsy?
Yep. I
Baron.
CV Max actually had a conversation with Doran after the last game and said, what the heck was that?
Yeah, he shows him a photo. Yeah, he showed him a photo of the book. Yeah.
Not allowed to see that. Maybe it's the version with my annotations on it.
Also, in this game, take a look at one of the real unsung advantages that SANDBOX, or well, that DragonX has over SANDBOX. Two levels inside of 80 carry. 2 levels inside of the jungle.
Yeah.
And so these are really big stats. You're talking about several hundred
and you're
HP,
talking about, yeah, and
as
also
well as
the
skill
last
points.
rank in ultimates and things like that as well, especially on Deft's side. That is going to be a much more scary bullet time coming out from this Misfortune in comparison to Leo, who's only just managed to ding over to level 15. DragonX, the Baron, just spawning, and now SANDBOX waiting in the wings. But this is the time where Zoe can shine. Non-committal engage options here for this SANDBOX squad in hooks, in bubbles. Even with this Gravitum that Leo has up for himself, the Moonlight Vigil can be a pick tool if done right.
And so here, okay, Dove looking for a bubble trouble, doesn't end up finding it. A minute now until the Infernal. So this whole battle right now is Gorilla and Dove trying to do hook.
Oh, Leo!
There it is!
In trouble, comboed out, bullet time going to secure it. That is one mistake you cannot make on SANDBOX as Pyosik gets a kick onto Dove, but it wasn't quite in position. Now Deft is going to clean up.
All right, well,
what was a big problem. OnFleek going to go down. That's the double for the Misfortune. Into the GA, but that is not the Guardian Angel that can do anything for you this time, Summit. Double kill for Doran, and that is what a mistake like that can cost you the entire game right here, as DragonX will bring us to match point.
The hell was this game, Atlas?
I don't know. This was called counter throws, LS. Counter throws, as this Nexus is just but an afterthought at this stage, as Chovy using his proto belt in a pretty funny way, as CV Max giving the hugs out here to Chovy and to Deft. Really good play from these guys, and it's capitalization like that that can win you a game, and Chovy showing us that he still has it.
And honestly, I actually don't know who to give the MVP to. Mostly because Keria and Chovy were missing really key hooks at so many points and also getting grabbed.
I guess I'm giving it to Chovy because he won the game. So
I'm gonna give it to Deft just because he was consistent.
Yeah, I mean, you can always give him an MVP for that.
Yeah.
So no one can really fault you.
This is one of those harder games to decide who is the most valuable player.
That being said, you can certainly not doubt that DragonX kept their heads cool despite having another, draft phase that honestly felt like it went disastrously for this team, considering what their opponents want to do every single game. But what DragonX were able to do is win themselves a fight in the early game and force SANDBOX to be behind when it came to straight-up engagements in that mid-game, which normally they're so good at. But this time, because they're behind, they're still making their aggressive plays. They don't find it. That was the game-winning play right here.
Yeah, that was it was literally as simple as that. And when you consider how much build-up and throwing back and forth ended up happening here, that was extremely anticlimactic.
Yeah.
For an ending.
Comes in and like two pops everyone.
This was sort of like an M. Night Shyamalan film. As well. That was it for game number 2. So we are going
We're
to
going the
3
distance. It's happening. I half expected it. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought if DragonX was ever going to win this series, it was going to be 2-1. There's no way they take every match off of SANDBOX. But now we'll have to see whether they can keep themselves together moving into game number 3. And goodness gracious me, please Just draft different champions. Stop with this weird Nautilus priority. I know it just won, but please stop. That's what I want. What are we checking? He's going into his wallet. Okay, that's 50. What's this for? Just for my draft rant. I get paid off for the draft rant. You can keep that. That was from the heart. Okay, that was from the heart. All right, guys, we are going to go to a short break. When we get back, more DragonX versus SANDBOX. Let's see who's going to be the sinner in the draft and who's going to be the saint at the end of the game after the break. Thank you very much, G-Sun, and here we are for game number 3, the deciding match between SANDBOX and DragonX. Now, DragonX maybe won the game, right? But if you win off one hook like that, does it necessarily mean that the draft was okay? I don't think so. And I think that there were certainly some issues. DragonX made that game much harder for themselves than it should have been in the draft phase.
Being needlessly over-aggressive. The Keria taking the death sentence in stone plating, and then Summit said, you know what, no, you win. Yeah, as he ran back into the opponents. But also, the DragonX decision to push the bottom tier 3 turret instead of just getting the Infernal Dragon, resetting, playing for more item spikes, etc., just playing it more safe, especially because of how far ahead they were. Yeah. It really doesn't rub me the right way. So let's see if we're gonna get any sort of mix-up in draft. DragonX now is on the right-hand side, and we're talking about neutralizing. That was fast.
Yeah, they really don't want to go against Lucian this game. As the Ornn taken away once again. It's been the blue side ban here for SANDBOX both times that they've been there. But hasn't actually been looked at. Was left completely available in game number 2, but no one decided to snap it up. Akali to hit the bench as usual. That is 100% ban rate thus far in the LCK, is Lee Sin going to continue to be the final blue side ban that SANDBOX go for. So it worked in game number 1, and they're going to do the same thing exactly in game number 2.
I wonder what's coming here. Aphelios.
Well, it would be surprising if that did not come through.
Are you ready for this, or here we go?
Yep, I am ready.
Or is it going to be Atrox?
Oh my goodness, it's contagious. This was the DragonX plan all along. It was to make SANDBOX think that Nautilus is a key pick. And then they're able to storm through with an advantageous draft. Just insane. Now DragonX picks Aphelios and then the Rek'Sai most likely. And they're off to the races, my friend.
All right, well,
unless they pick Zoe. Zoe's another option that DragonX could go for here.
They'll probably go jungle, I would imagine.
You'd assume so, but I think picking away the Zoe from Dove could also be a decent idea. 7 seconds to go, and the Elise is going to be locked in. Still left up.
100% loss rate.
Yeah, let's see whether Pyosik can turn that one around. As once you hit level 6, it's not exactly the greatest matchup into the old Olaf, but it's going to be more about that pre-level 6 timings.
See what ends up happening. SANDBOX probably just going to go jungle MF here, as MF being highlighted. Big surprise.
Now, if Keria just locked in Zyra, we'd be some happy campers over here. Certainly is hook food for a Nautilus. We'll see. 13 seconds on the clock. Dove wondering about what he wants to grab, whether it be a jungler. I think jungle almost has to come in here, otherwise we get the Rek'Sai and Olaf bans, and OnFleek doesn't get one of his key champions, so the Olaf is, of course, going to be locked away.
So that is picked up. DragonX now probably just respond with mid laner. Support pool is still super wide open.
Yeah, not likely that it's going to get pinched enough. Flexible.
Well, that is flex.
Yeah.
Okay. Renekton hover for the vacuum. Renekton Elise. Not really a big fan of that. Quinn gets banned away. There's still just so many counters up there in top lane that exist. So, pinching top, you can only really pinch the most obvious ones. Ornn was already also banned away.
Yeah, Onset and Quinn. Onset, Quinn, Lucian, Akali, Aurelia. In fact, it's almost all top laners apart from the Lee Sin.
We'll see if they end up banning away the Aatrox or not. Gangplank's still available. Doesn't really strike me as a Summit kind of champion.
I think Aatrox is probably where Summit's mind is going to be going.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah, it lives there.
Yeah.
As okay, DragonX reading the Nautilus pick as potentially a solo laner, so we'll be taking away the Blitzcrank that Gorilla did have a brilliant performance on. So making it more likely that the Nautilus is heading towards bottom lane.
Also, we'll see what comes in on R4 for DragonX. If they're gonna
Thresh. Oh no.
Well,
Nocturne.
Nocturne.
The mid Nocturne.
What?
Interesting. We saw mid Nocturne quite a bit in the Kesper Cup.
Yeah,
but since then, absent.
That would be an awful champion to R4, and you can draft in a way that you don't make it possible on R5. So Thresh picked up by DragonX on R4. They're reserving R5 for counterpick for either mid or top, and then allocating the Renekton as necessary, as Zoe being hovered again. Now, this opens up room for Ryze, opens up room for Syndra, and then at that point, Dub is going to have to take Cleanse. Or, well, he'll likely end up taking Cleanse against the Elise Syndra or the Elise Ryze. If you're really, really, really good and you're on page with your jungler, you can get away with taking Teleport. And yeah, there's the Aatrox, big surprise.
Yeah.
Start the game with the logo.
Yeah, you
Summit,
just may as well have it on Summit to begin with.
That champion as, okay, Fizz, another counterpick to Zoe. And
I
definitely
love this.
Oh man, we have mono red versus mono red on both of these teams. The only thing is that
okay, it's Kiana. We went from fun pick to not as fun.
I hate everything right now, Atlas.
It's very sad, isn't it? It's going to add a little bit more teamfight power to this composition, but the Fizz would have been just so much pick in the mid game, and that's exactly what you want to be playing around. Chovy has, in the laning phase, better follow-up for Pyosik's Cocoon, with the chain CC opportunities given being able to terraform from the river, but I don't know, man.
It definitely just strikes me a bit bizarre given other champions that are available, but obviously they're just trying to go super, super aggressive, but their team composition falls off a cliff.
Oh yeah.
Once it hits mid-game. But likewise, the SANDBOX team composition, same damn thing. The only thing really holding it together in the later stages is going to be the Zoe and the MF, but because of the Renekton, because of the Kiana, etc., Aatrox actually does get value. Yep. Going up to 3-4 items, getting the Sterix, getting the Guardian Angel, getting that armor against Renekton and Kiana. It is actually problematic. I feel like even though there's a lot of autonomy on the side of DragonX, their team composition walks into SANDBOXes. Doesn't leave me feeling with a very good taste. Now, I do trust Chovy on a well, not a hyper carry, but an assassin.
On an assassin, yeah.
Like Kiana, to influence this game, especially because of the discrepancy in skill between him and other players.
I just feel like it's been Dante's drafting. We've been drafting in one of the layers. I'm not entirely sure which layer it is, but it ain't heaven. We are sinning our way to the top right here, and both of the teams are joining in as we get onto the rift for the deciding match. Chovy looking great, and I believe that Louis Vuitton. SANDBOX, this is basically the composition that they've been running this entire day. Changing up a few things when it comes to junglers, but Rek'Sai and Olaf do basically the same thing. Dove is on 3 games in a row on the Zoe, and Summit 3 for the Aatrox. Bottom lane is going to be where things change, and it's now Deft on the Aphelios. I wonder whether he'll die for the first time, so we'll be able to actually see a defined KDA for this pickup for him. We saw just how busted it was when Leo killed Deft with some chakrams and one auto attack of his Calibrum from downtown in that team fight underneath the inner turret. Wasn't enough to win them the game because, of course, Leo then followed it up by getting caught out and losing the game.
Well, maybe they're going for a late invade here. trying to start things off right is SANDBOX. As they're making it look like they're just trying to clear wards. They don't know about Olaf. They're about to get the bad news.
Yeah, that's the stun landing onto Pyosik. He has to flash instantly. And now Deft off to the side with his Calibrum active. Of course, Calibrum Severum.
Oh.
The exact ones that you're going to have is now we're continuing.
Don't let it reset.
Very close.
One tick of patience
Yep.
available. He ends up even smiting it, not taking any risks whatsoever. Now, Elise was actually really quick. Whoa, what was that?
I don't know, that was you failing to talk.
Yeah, that was, I was getting a little tongue-tied right there.
Mm-hmm.
As she was very quick to just immediately go over to the wolf camp and eat that right away. So, already on her red buff, but warded up in left-hand side river, as well as the entrance to river near the raptor camp. So, unfortunately for her, when she ends up showing, if she does, everyone will know what her path is and be able to play around it with relative ease.
Level 2's collected on the bottom side of the map. Gorilla not quite with his just yet. As Doran slicing, dicing, trying to get some harassment down onto Summit. What's your take on the Aatrox versus Renekton matchup? Imagine the Crocodile wouldn't be too unhappy.
He's not super unhappy, but Aatrox is definitely very comfortable. And also, in this particular instance, you can see Doran crashes the wave. He can just recall right now. There's no reason.
You need to give up. They're never going to do it.
Some people do it, you know, in other regions. So, some people.
Yeah.
It's going to take time, like Morello versus Leandris.
That's true.
But eventually, you know, scream at the sky enough and.
Not every team can be Gen G from last night, okay?
Yeah.
Not every team can just make the right decision.
Now, they know where Olaf is, but now, because of knowing where Olaf is, Doran is in this really awkward position where he can't get a very clean crash off, and so he'll eventually be pressured by the Fog of War, and this is the thing that you want to avoid in spots like this. Now, he did take a big chunk of HP out of Summit.
Yeah, he's been pretty happy in this lane so far, but not actually able to get too much. Pyosik with his Hex Flash is going to get himself over here, and there's the flash play. Leo in potential trouble. Gorilla trying to play defense. No Cocoon has gone out just yet as both flashes from the bottom side, but the next hook is going to land. Gorilla is going to go down, and the rappel is there to get Pyosik to safety. Love the play coming out from the rookie jungler on DragonX's side, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be heading towards a victory for the Elites.
Could be the first one here. Also, Hex Tech Flat. Hold on one second.
He's dying a little bit. He's going to be okay, though.
I'm back.
Yeah, sorted yourself
Hex Tech
out.
Flash Traption for the Elise is a little bit surprising. Also, Conqueror on her again. I was co-streaming LCS earlier, and there was actually a lot of people in chat that were making fun of it, but realistically, it's actually very, very good.
I was talking about it all Kesper Cup. Do you remember?
Yes.
All the time, and no one picked it.
A lot of people, they think that it's very trolly. She stacks it very quickly, and also the way that she conducts herself, she already has it right now. The way that she conducts herself in later stage team fights, she gets it really quick, and it's just going to add more value. And so it's a way to actually take Elise, who is traditionally a very sinful champion, that needs to get early advantages, needs to accrue early leads, and it's a way to give her a little bit more breathing room in the later stages of the game and mid-game as well, to have a little bit more oomph inside of team fights.
Summit, there's the flash forward. Cocoon comes out, trying to predict the flash, but Pyosik not quite long enough on that one. And Keria will go back to the bottom lane now. Deft having some time on his own while Gorilla's going to help OnFleek take this first Ocean Drake of the game. Deft with great lane positioning, though, which really did give Keria a window to get up here. And flash means things are successful, but Doran had to invest his as well. And Gorilla back in this lane. Minion wave quite large. And with Infernum, Deft is going to accidentally push this wave back out.
Yeah. And Leo not actually doing... this is definitely a bit interesting lane manipulation happening down here in bot lane. And Deft obviously in the driver's seat in this lane right now. BF sword versus double long sword. Obviously, Doran Blade versus Doran Blade.
Getting that first blood really helping Deft get himself into a great position, laning phase style. OnFleek moving up towards the top side. The dice should be available here. No, he went through his own minions. Can't even sidestep the undertow. Gets himself the Q back, but it's not going to be enough to save his life. And there's the first kill for SANDBOX going over to OnFleek there with his classic tag team alongside Summit.
We pan over to mid lane. Kiana has been locked up in the lane. Also, first recall just has the tier 1 boots, no mobility boots yet. Available. Keria landing the death sentence, doesn't elect to do anything further than that.
Yeah, Deft didn't quite have the range available. Infernum Gravitum now available for Deft. Once you get to that level 6, of course, Gravitum, Moonlight Vigil, pretty strong.
탑 싸울 수 있어요. 와주실?
You can come top right now.
노플
Do you want to come? No
아니
flash,
아니
no
큐가
flash.
돼 큐가 돼 와봐 노플
Keep saying no flash, no flash, no flash.
오케이 굿
Yeah, pretty easy as you like there for Summit and OnFleek, of course. Doran's able to get back to the lane very quickly and will continue to have slight CS advantage.
Yep. Also trying to zone him out of that cannon. I really like to see this. Sometimes you'll have players. I get it. Okay.
Nailed it. Waited for
nail
that caster
yeah.
to get the last one
That
off.
was the, yeah.
That's the
that
dream.
was the fadeaway right there for that minion. And now he's just going to shove it. Now there's nothing else that can really be denied. And so many times, in solo queue especially, you'll see players that don't think about that. But that's a lot of gold. If you do that 3 times over, you almost killed them.
Yeah.
So, very important. That is essentially mini objectives inside of laning phases, basically, and you should view them as such. Kiana now with the mobility boots, ready to sin. She has her Nikes.
Yeah. Doesn't have any sort of CS advantage, and in fact, Dove is ahead by about 2 waves. Not really the Chovy way. Does generally find CS anywhere he wants. Dove currently leading as far as experience, the only player on the Rift at level 8. Deft will look for some plates, but doesn't get him. Thankfully had Gravitum, so would be able to slow the approach of Leo if any extended trade was going to come in. Keria makes his way back down, Gorilla does the same thing, and we've just got 2v2 once again. Down bottom lane. Got a 300 gold advantage here. As, DragonX have been farming better on the top and bottom sides. Deft wanting to hang around by the looks of things. Chovy picks up some grass, throws it into the mid lane. Dove with his heal that he's collected. Haven't seen too many redemptions yet, all the way up until level 8, but maybe it was just off screen.
Very small gold advantage by DragonX right now, as not much is really going on. Rift Herald obviously should be on the menu for someone. Chovy taking a little bit of damage right there, unfortunately for him. Dove picked up a heal.
Pyosik thinking about picking up Shelly. She's going to at least yell at the Elise. As Pyosik, he's trying to come in here onto Summit, so close to his flash being available once again, but still has to be careful. Keria's in there as well. Now Lantern's going to come over. They are going to find the cocoon. It's the face check from Summit. Exactly not what you want, as the hook is layered so nicely. The World Ender comes in, but there is nothing that they can do as Keria tanks up this turret. The Spiderling's going to do the same, and now Doran eating plates for dinner. Doesn't even want the food on them.
Yeah.
He just wants the plates themselves.
And this is actually a really good display.
Supreme display, in fact, as Chovy throws that one out of the mid lane. Just an ignite to be thrown down onto Leo, but it looks like he is going to be able to get away. Gorilla, not so lucky. Now Chovy, can you get the dance? The flash out of the way from the bubble, and Deft is there to escort his mid laner to safety. And Shelly's going to go down as well. This is just a 1-2-3 punch from DragonX.
The game is really just spiraling out of control, and honestly, you're going to give a lot of credit to Doran this game. Yes, he did receive some pressure assistance in the early stages against Summit, but then he ended up getting killed, but he's done a phenomenal job so far. And, you know, a lot of people, they look at the game number 1, they meme him, they mock him after about, obviously, Doran didn't play at Worlds and how a lot of people said that it would have made a difference.
Yeah.
He's going up against Summit here, who is easily touted as top 2 LCK top laner.
Yeah. It is Summit and Keen right now, and based on performance
usually,
in Game 1...
only Keen can actually find edges over Summit inside of laning phase and manage to outperform him. And Doran's doing that here in game number 3. And even in game number 2, he held his own, which is the exact things that we talked about last
game
summer.
#1. If you're talking about the laning phase, I mean, it was the Kennen matchup for the Aatrox, not an easy one for Summit to be able to navigate right there. However, Doran was certainly not the reason in the laning phase why DragonX fell down in game #1. Now heading towards his Black Cleaver by the looks of things with that Phage in his back pocket, and does, of course, have the Executioner's Calling just for the laning phase victory against this Aatrox. Slices, dices, gets out of the way of any issues. As Chovy's having a rough time, honestly, in this lane. But the Tiamat's going to help him stay relevant as far as the farm, and that farm lead has not increased from Dove. In fact, he's pulled it back, got to about 20 a little while ago, as now Doran's going aggressive onto Summit. Slices, dices, gets himself around, and the chains are not going to bind this time. And Pyosik is here waiting in the wings. Renekton and Elise, the best friends club. Not a combo that has seen all that much success, as Shelly's being sick towards the top side, and now Pyosik looking for Summit. Conqueror is going to proc as the World Ender's time is being eaten up. This may not be a 1v1 that you want, Pyosik. Oh my goodness. Looks for the cocoon, flashes out of the way, and in goes Doran. The Ruthless Predator is there, and Pyosik, it was close, but he's going to live.
Not very clean, but they get the kill in the end anyway. And that was one of the instances where the Conqueror, it does proc, it starts becoming very valuable.
Yeah. In fact, probably kept Pyosik alive, just given the fact that he was down to such low health margins. And with the W attack speed in Spider form, you actually do get to the Conqueror pretty fast, which is why it does work out so well.
So anyways, right now, in this game, DragonX are in a really commanding position. Unfortunately for DragonX, SANDBOX rolled a pretty terrible dragon in regards to it's not going to be as valuable towards them as an Infernal would be.
I mean, at least if DragonX get it, Pyosik just gets to utilize the 30-second cooldown on the extra movement speed by just transforming over and over again, which I believe is how that one works.
The other thing about the Cloud Soul is you can argue that it's... Oh, Leo.
Yeah, getting exhausted. Hook is going to go wide. Good sidestep there from Leo. He's trying to turn it back around now as Gorilla dredge lines himself into the wall. Pyosik absolutely fine as the Krogs are just going to reset. Chovy makes his way down, but he's lost about half of his health bar, and Deft wants to have these plates all to himself.
And this is really, really nice. They get 3 in bot lane, they got 4 in top lane, so 7 plates total.
And now this is probably one of the biggest deficits I've seen Summit in ever. I don't think I've ever seen him down 40 CS.
Yes.
And yes, DragonX did do this on purpose. They were utilizing the Elise and the Renekton combo with Keria constantly roaming towards the top side. This game was Operation Shut Down Summit, and they have done it successfully. We're going to check the pro view here of Pyosik. Tries to avoid some of these cues. And look at that, the Conqueror was doing work.
Yeah. He's doing a lot of value right there. Summit couldn't quite get the kill. He said, I'm sorry. It's all okay.
Yeah, it is. It is okay.
As
Bubble's going to land a lot of damage onto Chovy there. Even gets super soaked.
And one of the things I didn't get to mention was the Mountain Drake was picked up. And against Renekton and Kiana, just little bits of armor, it is pretty big. What is Elise? Oh, that's her animation for that, huh?
She's going to Cocoon Dove after the flash. I mean, Hex Flash, sorry, as Deft is going to take down the outer turret on the bottom side. They trade it for outer and mid, but this one's going to go down as well. DragonX trading up once more. Local gold, I believe, was missed by Doran right there. However, still able to get the global variety of it.
So right here, you can notice that Aatrox actually had a 5-minion wave. He could have pulled it down and tried to freeze, and then Renekton can't walk up because Olaf's there. Which means that Doran would have been zoned out of this entire wave, and because it's a cannon minion, it would have meant that Aatrox almost could have just effectively killed Doran once. But because
of my friend, say lovey. It's just...
I'm preaching to the choir right now.
Yeah, you are.
But eventually, much like Morello and Leandri's,
it will see its last day.
will eventually appear.
Dove flashing around. You always got to pick up them redemptions. That's what you got to do. And redemption is what we're looking for. Frozen waves. Redemption for the frozen waves. You just don't have them. OnFleek clears out that minion wave. Loves every single little minion that he can get his hands on from these lanes. Doran comes down bottom side, collects himself a trouble bubble, and the Paddle Star misses. So he's fine. And Tiamat plus the Q is going to successfully just alleviate that lane of all of its minions. Deft staying out of the way of double up range is certainly a smart maneuver. Severum and Gravitum currently equipped, so it doesn't have all of the range of the Calibrum available at the moment, but will be able to help take down Shelly very easily. SANDBOX used this opportunity to get this bottom outer turret, and the attention on Summit continues.
Yeah. As it's a 3,000 gold advantage right now for DragonX. And the Kiana really hasn't done anything this game. I do have to point that out. So we'll have to wait until later stages to see what Chovy can end up doing. But this Kiana pick has not really achieved a whole bunch. Infernal Chains lands there onto Keria. Atrox still waiting to complete his Black Cleaver.
Well, DragonX might be able to get a double charge out of Shirley.
Yeah, they're going to be able to raise this bottom, or this top tier 3 turret for sure.
Have they taken the lesson? As there's a true display of talent, goodbye Summit. This is not the kind of laning that this guy has experienced so far, but they did take the inhibitor, which means that DragonX will miss out on a lot of gold. They're going to need to utilize the extra map pressure effectively to help alleviate that issue.
And the thing about this is I really hope that we get a CS. So it's 137.
Yeah, 137 to 191 right now.
So 137 to 191 is what the current top lane gap is. And now, here's another minion wave that is going over to MF for free. And the opponents will not see any more minion waves, although the RNG on the super minion spawn means that there was one more regular cannon wave.
Yeah.
So okay, this is the second wave that is going into nothingness. So this will be, what, 450 gold into nothing, into the void.
But if we have a look here, it means that DragonX can find themselves open path towards this outer turret in the mid lane. If they can take that, that will be another positive thing as Deft takes a double up but is able to get out using that death sentence. Sorry, the Dark Passage. Fleek.
Now once
we'll get that ward as well.
SANDBOX gets this third wave up in top, that'll be 650 swung into SANDBOX's bank account that DragonX doesn't get access to. Fourth wave coming in, that'll be 850. And it keeps adding up. This is the thing that I mentioned. We had a cast earlier this week where
it was the Gen.G match.
Turned away.
Oh, wait. Yes. Was it T1 or was it Gen.G? I think it might have been. Okay. We'll give them benefit of the doubt. It was you were casting it with Valdez at the time.
They turned away from the mid inhibitor turret. Okay, so those are all the waves right there. There is enormous amount of gold that needs to be picked up.
Oh, OnFleek just stole the red buff as well with an axe.
Next wave coming in, that's going to break 1,000. The one that is running down top. And you can see how, yes, they have added map pressure. Now, obviously, they're getting some rewards from this. But is it greater than the XP in addition to the gold that is being granted in top lane? They ended up raising a turret, so that's going to be a 500 gold swing that goes DragonX's way, but DragonX will probably get that turret even without the top inhibitor.
Well, that's the thing, and they weren't able to take this outer turret in the mid lane, which is
that's
largely
the
more
real
important. Exactly.
Problem going on. Here's another wave.
It's the K-Ram advantage, despite not having side lane turrets, is still in SANDBOX's favor.
And also, look at what is happening with the XP because of this top lane. These waves keep dying over and over. Talk about this all the time. This indirectly is an example of freezing.
Yeah.
It is waves going into the void that the opponents can't eat, they can't get access to, can't get the gold, can't get the XP. It's happening under different circumstances.
And you see here, that super minion is left at that minion wave.
Yeah.
Someone did that on purpose to make sure the minion wave
That
just
it
dies.
keeps freezing.
Well, Gorilla's actually just going to flash in. Supreme Display of Talent does come down. Gorilla in trouble. Uses the stopwatch, but doesn't have the Aftershock anymore. But now in comes the Olaf. Summit in there as well. Doesn't get onto Keria. Great hook. Great play. And now he has to run out. The slows are going to come in as Doran goes golden underneath the turret. But DragonX are destroying this team fight. Another Q. OnFleek wants to do it as Dove able to lock down that kill. But the max range hook onto OnFleek. And now Deft finds himself as many kills as he would like. Dove is going to go down. Pyosik grabs that with a cheeky Q. And Keria dies to a turret.
And they might actually be able to end the game here, so some's rejoicing like, aha! The
Yeah,
top
see,
turret.
this is why you take the inhibitors.
Yes, that had nothing to do with Summit Leroy Jenkins.
Jenkinsing, yep.
For
That's
the
a
second
tough-
game
that's
in
a
a
tough
row.
verb. It's a tough one.
That one is that's a tough verb. He did it in game number 2 at the bottom tier 2 turret. If you recall, he just world entered, ran right past his teammates, even though Keria was inting into the turret. He did it here yet again.
But now it's actually this weird situation where that inhibitor being down is now good for DragonX. As we watch the replay, it's now good for them because there's only one Nexus turret. And so those super minions can now threaten to win the game.
Watch this right here as Gorilla's going to end up going down, and Summit, he could just have not engaged here, and it would have been fine. OnFleek would have been able to get out. At the end of it, you gave up 1 kill, but you're getting so much value from the top lane itself, and the opponent can't just start Baron. If they try to turn and go back over to Baron, then you can eventually go back over to it. You've taken all your jungle camps already. And DragonX, they managed to clean up the team fight. One of them ends up going down at the very end. But there's a lot of underappreciated things that are happening on the map, and it's not every day that you get to talk about them, so for me it's really exciting.
Yeah, no, I like it too. And because of all of these exciting things, we've missed the fact that Cloud Soul is just going to go over to... sorry, no, that's not true. The Drakes are in favor of SANDBOX right now, so the Cloud Soul is being denied from SANDBOX. I looked at the top of the screen and got excited. But,
several thousand gold that went into the void in top lane.
Yeah.
Just to point that out. So
So
obviously, though, they did get an Nexus turret.
Yeah. So the calculation was good. It was correct. You shouldn't have taken that inhibitor just there, although you might look at it.
The result-based.
Yeah. But it shouldn't be results-based analysis because actually DragonX could have just as easily been winning by this margin without that situation. As Deft still hasn't died on Aphelios on his 3rd match so far.
I don't know when they'll just start banning him in MF instead of just banning the solution stuff.
Yeah,
it really makes
some strange
no
bans.
sense.
Should Lee Sin be banned every game?
No.
You know, probably not. Despite Pyosik being pretty good on the champion and was part of their victory. OnFleek will start off this blue buff, and Dove should be able to collect it for himself unless this volatile Spiderling gets a move on. Doesn't. And now the Baron is where DragonX are looking to fight around. You can see all of the vision is there. They have 3 control wards around this pit, and I believe 1 in there as well. There is a blue ward that just timed out. And so now SANDBOX have absolutely no vision apart from that one that just went in. See whether Chovy dances on over to try and pick that one up as Deft will move back into Fog of War. Now DragonX, they have Aphelios, and what he does is murders the Baron extraordinarily quickly.
You know what? You think you're really fancy right now. Tell me what he does.
Well, he has 5 different guns.
Uh-huh.
Currently, he has Infernum, which are
Don't try to walk
a lot
this
of
road.
AoE damage, but not necessarily the
be
most
really
single
careful here.
target. Why? What do you mean?
There's probably very few casters that can do this. Go ahead, describe what Aphelios does.
Well, he wants to get Crescendum, actually. Does the most single target DPS
Okay.
if you're standing
What
right
color
next
is
to the opponent. It's a white one.
Okay.
It's the one that has little chakrams.
Excellent.
That travel around you. You can then switch to your other gun and you use your offhand weapon to, in fact, continue to do chakram damage.
All right.
It's how Leo was able to 2-pop Deft
All right.
in that team fight in game number 2.
Okay, go on.
Very, very dangerous. Currently, Deft is using up his Infernum ammo as much as possible in order to have his other weapons available. And there it is. There's the Crescendum that we were talking about. The turret is up, and we're doing lots of smacking down.
It took you about a minute and a half. You got through 1 gun?
Yeah, no, half a gun. Yeah. This is Eladios, okay? Now Chovy's been discovered on the backside. Supreme display of talent. Oh, the Infernal Chains were brilliant, but doesn't get the second Q, even after the Umbral Dash, and they do have to pull away from the Baron. Severum and Crescendum for Deft. Oh, beautiful.
Now, what does that do?
Well, that one gives you the spinny, shooty.
Okay, and what does
I
it
believe
do?
it's called Onslaught. It just does damage in a cone, as Deft is now dead.
Oh!
Wow. Boom goes the dynamite. Is this going to be another game where an Aphelios dies and the game is over?
I would actually really like to see this sinful team composition lose this game after this many advantages. It always does just rustle my jimmies.
Well, that's his first death on the Aphelios as well, and maybe is a game-ending one. At that, you saw all of the vision that DragonX had that was so aggressively placed. But SANDBOX found themselves an avenue to walk on up.
I think SANDBOX are ahead now. They're down 5,000 gold, but you gotta understand, it's a Kiana, a Renekton, and a Elise. They are full of sin. These champions decay very rapidly. We're taking a look at the replay here. And honestly, I mean, that's a beautiful bubble.
That timing from the stopwatch
And then they're
as
saying
well.
push. I think they're ahead. They're down 5k. They do have a Mountain Dragon, though, which is giving them some gold in terms of the resistances.
But they'll definitely be ahead as soon as Pyosik dies. If Pyosik dies, that's so much extra gold, 800 to whoever kills him. And that's going to be a huge swing. And now the map is in favor of a SANDBOX squad that are pretty happy to fight around this Baron, especially with Zoe.
Yeah, and they have
throwing the bubbles.
Cloud Soul even coming up in 30 seconds. This is a really dangerous spot.
Yeah.
And you gotta also consider that a lot of the gold is inside of the Elise, and unlike Karthus, it doesn't really matter if she's super far ahead because she tends to conduct herself in the same exact way unless she is oppressively far ahead in the early mid-game transition. That's when she's most scary.
Well, Doran's here towards the bottom side, trying to get the pressure on. A back coming in from Summit, but he does have teleport available. Same can be said for the Renekton on the other side. As OnFleek, he's trying his hand as a split pusher.
Yeah. And I mean, you may as well. Now, they are actually going to give over the Cloud Soul. And I've talked about this actually a lot, I think with Valdez, that when you get the 3 dragons, you don't have to take the 4th one. You can just make it so the enemy has to keep stacking up Drakes. And when it's the Cloud one, that's the one that feels really bad.
Yeah, you're not too worried about it.
20% ultimate CDR on some of these DragonX champions, really not the biggest thing in the world.
Yeah, for an Elise, certainly means nothing at all. Moonlight Vigil, good to have that one up and available as often as possible, and currently Deft does have his first 3 items completed. Leo's still looking for his Bloodthirster. But Leo's slowly but surely getting towards his item timings, and he's going back now. I wonder whether he's actually able to actually collect it. So this is a reminiscent gold graph. Saw similar in game number 1, but at this stage it had already started to go south for DragonX far more than it has. But this Zoe timing, she's got herself to 3 items. Dove still looking for target after target. And he can do this. He's not getting punished.
So what Zoe
for
does,
his positioning.
She's very blue in this control.
Oh yes.
Not blue Dabadita. All right.
Die.
But very controlling.
Yeah, does have the blue buff now as well, so even more blue, as she
Atlas,
otherwise was.
if you ever get into Magic the Gathering, just remember.
Oh, if I do, yeah.
Just what? You said no right away. Atlas, if you ever get into it, make sure to just play blue.
Okay.
Blue's the best color.
All right. I was a control player in Hearthstone. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. That's where blue is.
All right, nice.
Do you like your opponents not having fun?
Yes.
Oh, me too.
That's precisely how I play. I like inevitable wins.
Yes!
You know?
Yes!
Where like they know that the game is going to take another 20 minutes, but they're definitely going to lose.
When the win occurs via their concession.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Oh, just beautiful. When it comes to like MOBAs and like League of Legends, I like it when you're having equal amounts of fun, you know? But when I'm playing card games, man, no.
I need you
That's
to not
about
have
emotional
fun.
turmoil.
I need you exactly.
Yeah.
Like looking across the table, playing in person, and just seeing their mental collapse.
Yeah, just watching
Yes,
their brain go, there is no way I can ever win
watching
this.
the frustration.
Yep.
You know? That's the best.
Yeah, really good times. Really, really good times. Well, OnFleek continues to look for these side lane minions.
This is completely fine. And honestly, DragonX has not got a lot of value out of the top lane ever since the fall of those turrets.
Yep. Well, I mean, the turrets are still standing, so outer, they're still standing gold possibilities for SANDBOX. as we've got a Baron that's still alive.
And honestly, the turrets on the map are making up actually a lot of the gold difference, and when we're starting to get to 31 minutes, Renekton, he does have 3 items, and the 3 items aren't super bad here. They are somewhat valuable, but he, for the most part, has slowed down. And Elise is basically locked on the same items for so long. It's Zhonya's Hourglass, Runic Echo, and then the Morel and Omicron. And outside of that, there's not really too much else coming in. Kiana, the unfortunate thing for her is the enemy team actually has armor resistances as well as that Mountain Dragon.
Oh, Deft in trouble.
They might have
Stopwatch
found
is
the
great
window.
timing. There's the supreme display of talent. Oh my god, the chakrams from downtown. Not quite enough to take down Dove. I believe that was Calibrum Crescendum combo, and it's not fun to deal with.
And now Gorilla and Leo trying to shove out mid lane. DragonX, Aphelios annihilates Baron.
He does, especially with this particular gun. Doran just playing goalkeeper. He's not even necessary. As the Elise is able to secure it, all of that gold still sitting in Pyosik's pocket. Has himself the Zhonya's Hourglass and a stopwatch as well. So it's going to take a while before Pyosik dies. Also not a lot of room for anything. Has a elixir there on in his back pocket. Leo probably would have liked that blue buff summit, but got to make sure that you deny it from your enemy.
And the really cool thing here also is just because DragonX has the Baron doesn't mean that the game is over. There's still going to be another fight left in this. Zoe, unfortunately, not able to get to that Oblivion Orb before. Okay.
Just caught out of position. Pyosik now the next target, but Deft is there. Does have the Crescendum available. Is starting to stack up these chakrams. Doran looking from the side. Yeah, picks up.
Yumus. Yeah, it must be nice. Yeah, it must be nice to run like God.
That's what happens when you're really good at fighting, as the bubble is going to land. Doran has to base tank it. Let's get the Ruthless Predator, and Dove takes a lot of extra damage based on that. Teleport to come back in here
and are
from
they
the
just gonna
Aatrox.
Get the Cloud Soul? I don't know why they're hesitating doing this, because when Chovy's up, Home Guard plus being Kiana, you get back into the fights really quick.
Oh, that's a Flash Cocoon. It lands onto Gorilla, but the Stone Plate is going to keep him alive for the moment. Doran, that's a dangerous slice and dice. The bubble is going to be taken. Can he get onto the lantern? He can. Sterix keeps him alive as well as Gorilla. Underneath the turret is going to survive for the moment. As Pyosik going golden will save him for now. I hope he used his Zhonya's and didn't break another stopwatch as Doran. What is this positioning down to his GA? For what feels like no reason, Deft wants to clean up the turret, does so.
I think Chovy's going to kill them both.
Yeah, Chovy wanting to dive in to try and stop them from taking this as OnFleek now trying to run away. Cloud Soul activated. Extra movement speed.
Oh, this could be the game.
Yep, there's the flash forward. The lantern is there as well as the flash was picked up. Is it enough? Dove, yes, gets himself out of the way. The Spleen Display of Talent is going to be there as now Deft looking to take down Summit as he respawns. It hasn't been his game today on this Aatrox. 6,000 gold now the lead for DragonX. Yes, there's a Cloud Soul, but they may not have a base after this.
And Elder is coming up next. So we'll have to see. Zoe did manage to complete her Oblivion Orb, and that's actually really big because there's 0 magic resistance present on the side of DragonX. So take a look at this replay here. Chovy ends up getting picked off. He didn't have the Supreme Display of Talent. Summit going way too far forward again, though, losing a lot of his HP. It almost cost SANDBOX in the ensuing fight in mid lane. Right here, though, World Ender back up, able to get reactivated by taking down Keria, and then he goes for Deft. Ends up being taken down, losing his Guardian Angel, so that'll be an item that they will be down. But they managed to stave off all of the Baron. And so Baron's going to be coming up again, as well as Elder Dragon. But unfortunately, this will put the Aatrox behind the Renekton ever so slightly.
Yeah, in fact, Doran's continued to kill minions very, very well. Hasn't been able to shop just recently. Now going to go back. I think has enough money to complete either the Titanic Hydra or the Mortal Reminder. We'll see where he actually decides to go as that completes. And it's actually just getting rid of his Tiamat, and he's going to complete a Spirit Visage instead. So it will help him take less damage from Dove, and also synergizes very well with the kit of the Renekton. And if I look down the line, there is an Oblivion Orb, but there is nothing to stop healing. on the side of SANDBOX. So I like Spirit Visage here.
Yeah.
Continue stacking that health up. Still waiting for his Guardian Angel to come off cooldown. That will be when Doran is completely powered back up. Leo has Rapid Fire Cannon in addition to everything else. Is 17.7k damage so far for Dove. He has been in control of the mid game, but when it's straight up team fights that are hard engaged by DragonX, that is not when Zoe shines. As, we're still seeing the damages.
I also
damages received.
feel like more often than not, Kiana is going to actually play out these lines pretty consistently. I think every time we've seen her, she doesn't really do that much until the later stages, but that's not a reason to pick her.
No. And I mean, look, he hasn't been feeding. He got picked off that one time, but otherwise Chovy has been, you know, okay, but I still don't see what this Kiana is doing that, you know, the Fizz couldn't have done, or one of the other picks couldn't have done instead.
Even just playing mid lane Pyke and going something like Karthus jungle and pseudo-funneling him would be a lot more valuable. Or even funneling him via the Kiana because she's able to leave lane because she functions so well on low economy with just a couple of items.
Yep. You can basically function like a Pyke.
Yeah.
And it's sort of what she's been doing as well. Has even things out as far as farm is concerned, and that has a lot to do with being able to spend some time here towards the top side. And now inside track to this inhibitor turret is being gifted to SANDBOX. As DragonX are wondering whether it's time to actually go for some sort of re-engage, but there are no solo laners there.
Smite was just used on a cannon, I guess to soften it. Oh, man.
Spiderlings tank that one up for them as Doran dives into the backline, gets the flash forward. Chovy in for the supreme display of talent, lands onto a couple of members, but double stopwatches are utilized. Gorilla's gigantic in the backline, but Summit's just dead, and OnFleek is running for the hills. Hook in onto Gorilla, nothing he can do, and somehow DragonX find themselves a team fight that I wasn't expecting them to be able to find.
And they have the minions actually up in top lane, so are they just going to run over there? No, they're indecisive with what they want to do because they don't have a minion wave in mid. So even though there's one Nexus turret, there's not a teleport up on Doran available to lock that down. They're going to play it slow and steady, not want to give anything up to chance against the MF, Zoe, and the Olaf. And remember, MF would have had the ultimate available to clear out the minion wave. So we're going to play it as careful as possible, get the Baron enhanced stats, and now we're going to be looking for an Elder Dragon. We take a look at how this fight ends up transpiring. Doran gets cut up, but flashes into the enemy team. Leo, he cleanses, but Chovy with the flank. Summit left alone on an island on the right-hand side, ends up dying. Olaf does what he does best, running away, doing absolutely nothing.
Doran actually played that fight really well, frontlining for his team. Spirit Visage paying off dividends, as Dove has only just completed the Forbidden Book now. And yeah, Gorilla was a big body in the front line, but he doesn't actually do all that much at this stage, apart from try to peel for his carries.
The Void Staff was actually picked up on the Elise, so this is going to allow her to deal true damage to some of the targets on the side of SANDBOX, but she was probably already really close to dealing a lot of damage, or very close to true damage, so I feel like rather than a Void Staff kind of a game, if you have that kind of money, just get the Liandry's, because a lot of these fights are conducted in a poke and siege scenario. And so Runic Echo combined with the Liandry's does so much for you, as well as the Madness passive, increasing all of your total damage dealt by 10%.
We're taking over to 40 minutes, LS. This is certainly going the distance, as DragonX are looking to try and close this one out, but they haven't been able to get towards any inhibitors just yet. They haven't been able to utilize this Baron, so they're going to choose the Elder Drake as their point of victory, as there's a teleport back from Doran, actually maybe into his death, as Leo going to cleanse for no reason, actually, as Doran slices to get himself out. Success as far as the disengage is now. We've got a reset on this Elder. That's a little bit of a issue there as bullet time flies over the top. The Elise locks down the Elder, and now this is huge for DragonX. Keria going down very low. The Ignite is in there. The heal utilized by Deft in order to keep them up. Oh, Calibrum Crescendum was there for Deft. That was time for the teamfight win, and SANDBOX do manage to get themselves the reset.
And this is honestly just smoke and mirrors over and over, and this is a byproduct of how vulnerable and weak the DragonX team composition is. Even when they're up, with the Baron stats, with the Elder, they took so much damage doing it, though. that they're going to have to wait and reposition. They're going to dance one more time to try to get an edge, especially because a lot of their champions are still up some core items, but it's still vulnerable.
Yeah, we got a 6-item Renekton. This guy's huge right now.
Not every day you actually get to see that.
Yeah. Has himself that mortal reminder that was completed towards the end there.
Doran is doing fantastic. Baron and Elder minions coming up mid lane. Deft, yeah, he took a lot of damage, and Baron is dissipating in 5 seconds. I don't even know if they'll...
Oh my god, the burn damage actually procs off the chakrams. That is just disgusting.
Yeah.
On this Aphelios, hook goes wide. Deft's still standing in the back, but has got all of his health back.
I love League of Legends.
Yeah. Now Infernum is online, so these minion waves aren't going to last very long at all. Big crits in an AoE. Very, very frightening. Deft trying to hold on to Calibrum for as long as possible because he wants it to stay safe in these team fights. He has his Mercurial Scimitar, so if a bubble does land, it's not going to mean the end for him yet again. As we are so close to the first Elise win of the LCK for 2020. But we're not there yet.
Well,
lying in wait. Goodness me, that's a lot of damage. Still, 4 minutes on the Elder.
Yeah, 8,000 gold difference doesn't mean anything. We are at 42 minutes in this game, and it's not like there's any champions that are really going to 6 items beyond the 80 carries. And Deft is already there on Aphelios, and Leo probably
pretty close.
Soon to follow, yeah. Very, very soon to follow.
But when Dove gets a Void Staff, he's going to do so much damage to everyone on DragonX, and there's not a lot that DragonX can do to avoid it, right? Like, he's so safe when he's portal jumping around from behind walls and getting the bubbles on the
And also even the Cloud Soul.
Yeah, true.
It is helping in some instances, and so we just have this we have this stalemate scenario right now.
Double lifesteal done for Deft. 6 items complete. He's making his way back out now as Doran slices onto
the true objective here. The Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, they do lock that one down.
Okay, Elder is honestly okay. The hook.
Yeah, hook does land.
What? That Q.
That was very strange.
Through the wall. That is some that's some Pennywise, if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, straight out of the gutter.
I saw it with you.
Yeah, we did.
That was great.
And you denied it on Twitter.
Yeah, you left halfway.
I did not. I stayed for the whole thing and enjoyed it.
You got proof?
No. That's why I was so upset. Oh man.
Well,
win some, you lose some.
Mortal Reminder, by the way, was the armor penetration item of choice for Doran.
Yeah, we'll see whether one of them is going to be collected by Chovy as well, or whether he goes for a Lord Dominic's just to make sure that his damage stays as relevant as possible onto more tanky targets. Do have a lot of armor being completed in these GAs and the Stone Plate and things like that, and the Kiana damage is not going to be registering as powerfully. Still will be tearing through Leo if he can get on top of him, as OnFleek looking for Chovy, but he's in the river and therefore has access to a bunch of stuns.
I feel like we're watching Goku go Super Saiyan for the first time.
Yeah.
You know how it took like 3 episodes?
Yeah.
Or SSJ3 against Boo.
Yeah, we're gonna go to a break now.
Yeah.
And we'll be back with our episode 2 or 3 or 7. Which episode are we up to now?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's the filler content between the episodes that we're watching now. Because of course, when the show stops, the timeline doesn't stop.
Now, the thing that you're going to want to do here, if you're watching this, is identify which skin it is that you like the most out of all these champions. Make sure to get yourself that.
Yep, hop over to the Riot store. Oh my goodness, that hook missing. Could be a huge problem. Knockup's coming in here from Summit, who's trying to dash away. Ruthless Predator does stun him up. Taking a fair bit of damage. Remember, Mortal Reminder on Doran's actually effective here as Keria gets the hook, lands it on the Gorilla. Maybe not the priority target they're looking for, as now it's OnFleek diving into the backline, trying to find Deft, but he can't do it. Down to multiple GAs here for SANDBOX, but Dove's off to the side. Leo gets caught out, and now Deft is free to destroy. Double kill already. Doran gets exhausted, but Dove, he knows that he doesn't have a front line to play around. OnFleek doesn't have the options as Pyosik over to the side, flashes for the cocoon, finishes off his opposite number. And now DRX think, nope, no need for a Baron. We're just going to win this one and take down SANDBOX's first loss in the LCK 2020.
SANDBOX right there. If you're Leo, you have to feel so bad as that. You know what, in every sense of the word, that really was the death sentence.
Oh, yeah.
As the thresh hook landing onto MF, locked her up, persisted beyond death. And that's going to be it. Zoe can't do anything.
Oh, and another cocoon. Pyosik earning his paycheck here today on the Elise 8-0-9. I like it when the MVPs are easy to dole out because that was one hell of a performance from the rookie jungler, letting us know exactly why he was chosen here by CV Max. Big cuddles from the gentleman himself, as Doran as well. Brilliant, brilliant stuff from this guy on the top side that I was doubting. I know a lot of people were doubting, especially after Quad was victorious, subbing in after his suspension, but get him off the cannon, get him onto a top lane champion that, you know, can get up close and personal. Doran looked brilliant. Fist bumps all round there for the Elise. Coming out of the jungle. Come on, mate. Just give it to him. Oh my gosh. Well, it's another unanimous vote ruined by an English-speaking broadcaster, and this time it ain't gonna be me. I'll tell you that much.
If he gets it, Doran is robbed.
I mean,
he's gonna
get it.
I know he is. You know, but
the writing's on the wall. As OnFleek packing up to go home. I'm glad that we saw an example of SANDBOX's weakness, because against APK Prince, APK weren't able to get them to that stage of the game that they look uncomfortable in.
The thing is, though, is they played from a deficit this time around very well, and honestly, the DragonX team composition was an absolute bonfire.
Oh yeah, it was disgusting.
The fact that the players were managed to remain steadfast despite the discrepancy as the game reached the end stage was really good. It was very akin to T1.
Yeah.
Turning the tides in mechanical fashion. In the
Dom1
face.
series.
You're right. In the face of what should not have been possible. Keria landing that very clutch hook at the end.
He had some huge moments for DragonX. Glad that he gets his time in the spotlight here as well. But Pyosik really putting on a clinic around the earlier stages of the game, landing the cocoons that he needed to.
I gave my MVP vote to Doran.
I know you did. I know you did.
Not only did he save Pyosik from that mess up on Aatrox inside of the blue side jungle, which
he was also able to outlane Summit.
He also outlaned Summit, he rode him, and he was also a very big saving factor in a lot of those team fights in the mid game. Yeah. That turned the tides. Him and Chovy in that one fight in mid lane, there were so many instances where Doran did so much. So I don't care what the KDA says, okay, on Pyosik. I don't care what the camera guy zooming in on him thinks.
Yeah.
For me, it's Doran.
Well, for me, it was the guy with the cool numbers, because I'm a play-by-play. I like to look at the screen, identify the cool numbers, and then tell you about the cool numbers, and he had the coolest numbers. If you're legendary without dying, feels pretty good.
Yeah, sort of like owning a prestige skin.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you know what we need to do? I think we need to go to the MVP interview.
Yeah. But first we're going to go to the highlights.
Yeah, we'll do some highlights, and then we're going to go to the MVP interview and check out exactly what happened here. And when we're going over these highlights, I want you guys to just notice how well Pyosik played.
Yeah. So Pyosik and Keria both are here. Again, the lane state and top lane extremely favorable. OnFleek a little bit too late. Keria and Pyosik here yet again.
Yeah. And actually, to be honest, this is a lot of it being Keria's either death sentence timing or vision manipulation.
It looks like Keria's going to get the MVP. And honestly, he was my second candidate for MVP. If we could have multiple votes or something, it would definitely be him, especially because of the death sentence at the end.
Yeah.
But
a lot of these moments, certainly Keria.
So much, man. He actually did. And it would actually be really nice for the people that hated on him this series to actually just recognize what he did do, even though, yeah, he had a Leroy Jenkins cannon game number 1.
But then he won on it.
Yeah,
you know, the turnaround performance. This was sick.
That is Albert.
Yeah.
The Toad right there.
Good night.
Just named him.
Sweet Prince.
Tilius is what? He's gonna throw up or something?
I mean, I'd throw up after that kind of disgusting death.
Yeah, I guess.
And I wouldn't blame Chovy for the same reaction.
And again, watch Doran here.
This
Gets
was
in
sick.
onto Leo, sets up the flank for Chovy. And even still, I mean, Doran was just doing so much, so often. We're gonna go to Team Voice.
Let's hear what DragonX had to say.
미드. 나 살짝 궁 뺐다. 천천히 해봐.
Let's take this slow.
비포 끌었어. 앞에 살려라 얘들아. 앞에 살려.
올라프 노플이야.
미포 끌었어. 미포. 앞에 살려봐. 그냥 몸 대줘.
혼자죠 그냥.
앞에 살려봐. 라인 살려 얘들아. 어때?
만화 없는데.
Now they're talking
Line
about
살려봐,
making
line
sure the
살리고
lane
들어가.
lives.
라인
야
살려.
노플이야 노플.
라인 살리고 미드 하자.
올라프
들어봐.
Yeah, Doran saying that he has teleport available.
조이 큐 조심해
어,
조이
조이
큐
조심.
Don't give a kill over to Zoe.
나 기도하고 있을게 얘들아.
Be careful not to give a kill over to Zoe.
어,
Oh, we can end.
아
어.
이번에 끝나게
나 기도하고 있을게 얘들아.
Let's end, guys.
아 미안하다.
집중해.
Concentrate, focus.
I like that. Not celebrating too soon.
산둥이 하나다. 빨리.
Please.
끝난 거 같아. 와
나이스.
미안하다. 할수 없다.
아 공기죠 오 뭐야 야 끝내 나이스
Yeah,
야
It was also really interesting in the team fight, very akin to Griffin. No one was really talking except for Keria.
Yeah, it was actually, I feel like the CV Max influence has
Yeah.
started to take hold because the start of that team fight was so controlled.
And silent, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you think of like, what is the direct opposite? Gen G and their extraordinarily explosive comms at every
Yes.
single stage of the game. That is precisely the
And
opposite of this.
This is another thing. Now, DragonX won, and I don't want to take that away from them. But again, really want to hammer home. You have that many advantages early on, which is a dream scenario.
Yeah.
Not every game that you go up 7,000 gold with these kind of champions, and then you still struggle to end. And when you're looking at that game in a vacuum, SANDBOX, they were making mistakes and still couldn't end. So, player of the game is actually going to be given over to Pyosik.
With a runner-up in Keria, and then maybe Doran deserves
I see
a
two people
little
on
look.
my screen here.
Yeah, and to
Two
be
people.
honest, like, it was Keria holding off on the death sentence to make sure that he can get it at the right time,
Now,
playing
this-
perfectly.
This right here, the Renekton that comes over to salvage this, and then Elise flashing away for her life. So if Renekton's not here, if Doran's not here, yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, baited a flash, man.
All right,
Baited a
hold on.
flash.
I'm paying attention here.
Yeah,
Elise damaging OnFleek.
got a point-blank cocoon onto Summit.
Okay, and
Meanwhile, Doran wins the team
meanwhile,
fight.
Doran and Chovy 2v4 the team fight, or
Uh-huh.
2v3 the.
I'm still happy with my choice.
It's an interesting choice there, Cotton.
He's legendary.
Yeah,
He has an indefinable
yeah, he had really good
KDX.
stats. Yeah.
because you can't divide by 0, and that was the amount of death that he had that game. And it's the first time that Elise has won. So obviously a really
Oh,
difficult
there you go,
champion to win
yeah.
on. Okay? So he automatically started off the game at a deficit. So, I don't know, man. I don't know whether you want any more from me. Because also, he's the rookie of the team. And we were expecting mixed results from his first few games.
Yeah.
But I think he certainly played well. And now we get to hear from him as well, because we will be throwing over to that MVP interview. So here's Ji-sun for some translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Ji-sun with the Universe Translation. And let's hear from the POG players, Chovy and Pyosik. Chovy, it's your first POG. How do you feel right now? I didn't know I was the POG, so I was going back to my player's room, but Mina just grabbed me and told me I'm gonna be doing the MVP interview. Well, especially game number 2, I died in some awkward moments, so I really didn't think that I would be the one. And Pyosik, 2 POGs in a row. DRX once again came back after losing game number 1. Does it kind of take time for the players to warm up? Well, I was feeling comfortable in game number 1. However, the game did not go as we planned.
자신감 넘치는 답변 잘 들었습니다. 자, 초비 선수가
So, Chovy,
노틸 선픽을 이제
you guys actually first picked Nautilus. So was that a flex pick or was that a mid-specific pick?
노틸러스를 자신 있어 했고
Well, me and
상대 픽에 따라서
Keria are both really confident on Nautilus.
둘이
So
라인 바꿔서 쓸
throughout
생각을
the
가지고
pick and bans, we could just flex it to the mid lane or the support.
유동성이 있었지만 결국엔 초비 선수가 노틸러스를 가져왔고 그게 엄청나게 좋은 판단이 됐습니다. 경기를 마무리 지었던 장면.
With this Nautilus on the mid lane, you guys were able to close out the game. Very effective hook over there. So yeah, I thought that I could go for the kill, so I told my teammates I'm gonna hook, and we were able to really pick it up. Without that hook, the game could have been even more extended. And I heard you saying like sorry to the teammates after closing out the game, because I was caught out in the middle of the game, so that was the main reason that why we had the longer game.
자, 그리고 표식 선수가 이제 3세트에서 앨리스를 꺼내 들었는데
In game number 3, you went with Elise, which was on a 5 games losing streak.
표식 선수가 앨리스에게 첫
Pyosik,
승을
you
안겨줬어요.
gave her the
어떤
first
점이
win of the split.
다를까요?
What's different between you and other Elise player?
승리 공식은
My winning recipe is Hextech Flash. Elise, you know, can jump over the wall, so if you take Hextech Flash, you can jump over the wall, so you can kind of pull off some unexpected plays.
네, 표식 선수가 원래도 조금 마공점을
So,
좋아하시는 편인 거예요? 아니면 특별히
do you
앨리스에 잘
prefer
맞는
Hextech Flash or is it just for the Elise? Just for the Elise. So I only take Hextech Flash only for Elise.
자, 이렇게 DRX가 두 번 다 이번 주에
DRX.
열렸던 경기 중에 두 번 다 승리를 가져갔습니다.
Pick up
표식
2
선수 처음
match wins
오셨으니까
so
이번
far.
시즌 각오
So
들어볼게요.
what's your goal for the split?
일단 오늘은 저희
Today,
팀원들이
Our
저희
teammates
끌고 캐리해줬으니까 다음 경기에
were
좀
carrying the game for me, so in our upcoming series, I want to come back with
네, 그리고
improved
지금 감기가 좀
performance.
걸리신 것 같은데
And I heard you caught a cold.
엄청 며칠
How are you
정도
feeling right
지내셨어요?
now? How is it?
3일 된 것 같은데 저곧
I've been feeling
입은 분들이
bad,
경험하실 수
like,
있을지 모를 것 같아요.
3 days
아, 그냥
so far.
건강이니까, 네, 빨리
I
나으시길
I might have to
바라겠습니다.
just stay in
자,
my
그리고
home.
선수, 지금 프로 데뷔해서
Pyosik,
정말 잘하고 계세요.
This
지금
is your
2년
first
정도
split,
사실은
and
시즌을
you are
쉽지
already
않으셨잖아요.
picking up 2 POGs in a
프로
row.
데뷔하면서 또 프로 데뷔하기 전에 좀 가장 고마운 분이 있다면 누군지
So who do
궁금해요.
you want to share this credit to?
아무래도 많은 사람들한테 고맙긴
I want to share
한데
this credit
지금 가장
with a
생각나는
lot of
사람이
people,
이제
but the first person
부직장의 롤통령이라고
coming in my mind,
내일이면 군대
the
가시는데
streamer that joining the Korean army tomorrow. So I wanna just say thank you and he's safe at the army, and I'm gonna become the best jungler in Korea.
활약 기대해 보도록 하겠습니다. 자, DRX의 두 번째 승리.
So this
다시
was
한번
DRX
축하드리면서 저희는
picking up the
인터뷰
second
마칠게요.
victory of this week, and
감사합니다.
this will be the end of the interview, and I'm gonna pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jisun, as usual, and that concludes our first match of the day. We're running about an hour behind schedule, something like that. Crazy stuff. So things going to be starting a little bit later, moving into our second series, which is Afrika versus Humble Life for our final match of the day. This is going to be really exciting, and mostly exciting for our friend LS right here, because he's expecting some better drafting out of these two teams. Not sure whether he's going to get what he wants, but at least he's going to get some keen action on the top side
Ooh, I
of
see what you
the
did
map.
there.
Yeah, it's a nice
That
one, right?
you are.
Well, we'll see whether
honestly.
Chovy can stay in form as well, because he actually had a great debut
I think
against T1.
Freak just woke up in a cold sweat. So that's all I gotta say about that. You know.
Oh, God. Please no. We are going to check in on the standings, though, and see the results of SANDBOX falling down. It will mean that they will no longer be tied with Afrika Freaks, and in fact, Afrika will be able to claim sole first place by picking up a 2-0 here. They'll be the only team to go back-to-back 2-0s. Gen.G dropping a map, unfortunately, I believe in their first match.
Yeah, and DragonX just below Gen.G by 1 point. We'll see. Now, Afrika can actually clinch first.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So they
Later
can have
on, yeah.
sole first place.
And
With a
Hanwha
2-0.
Life can tie first.
True. They can. So, could be a possibility here. 2 zeros needed on both sides in order to get ahead of Gen G, but they can equal them with a 2-1. We'll see whether it goes the distance as we get back after a shorter break than normal. Probably about 30 minutes, something like that. So stay tuned, get yourself some popcorn, something like that. We'll be back very